Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
What's up, everybody? We are here. We are only 1 hour late, but we are going to get started. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 325 of Sports Cards Live for Saturday night, August the 22nd, 2026. My name's Jeremy Lee. Guys, no shows tomorrow. I'm on vacation starting tomorrow morning, so there will not be a Fanatics weekly auction ending watch party tomorrow night. Guys, Leighton Sheldon's always buying collections. Reach out to Leighton at justcollect.com. We're going to rip through the opening announcements and shout-outs tonight. Guys, auctionwire.ai, a great tool. Check it out. Use code SCL for a free 30 days. Mint Inc. If you're ever in the greater Toronto area, guys, look up Mint Inc. Go to one of their stores. They are amazing. They are where the hobby is at in Canada. Go check it out when you visit Toronto. Front Row Card Show, their big Pasadena show, is in LA, September 5th to 6th, 770 spanking tables. If you can believe that, visit frontrowcardshow.com. Check out Mr. Minty, guys, for your substance-free pre-grading supplies, substance-free pre-grading supplies. MrMinting.com. Save 25% with code SCL25. Check out CIA Auctions. Thank them for all their support of Sports Cards Live at collectorinvestorauctions.com. Guys, and I just want to thank you all for being here. We're going to jump into it. Your comments and questions will be in play as per usual. We're starting an hour late. I do apologize, but I had an event. And but I made it here. It was either no show or start now, and we are going to start by bringing on Mr. David Chase. Buddy, welcome.
What's going on, Jeremy Lee? You made it. By the skin of your teeth, you made it.
David Chase had a text message from me about 11 minutes ago saying I'll be home in 10. So hold down the fort for me. But I'll just let you guys, I'll quickly tell you, we're at an event tonight and dinner. So I'm in the mountain time zone. So right now it's 9:03 for me. Dinner was supposed to be served at 7:30. I thought, no problem. Dinner served at 7:30. We'll get out of there by 8:30. Take me 20 minutes to get home. We'll start at 9. Well, dinner didn't get served till about 8:15, 8:20. And I'm watching my clock. I'm like entering into a panic state, you know. And luckily it came out. And so here we are. And we are going to make this thing happen. So that's why we are a little bit late tonight. But we're happy to be here, Mr. David Chase. Listen, we're gonna bring on. Now, we're going to bring on, of course, Joe Perreault is going to join us at about the halfway mark. Chris McGill, Joshua Adams will join us in the last hour. Leighton Sheldon could not make it. We are too late of a start for Mr. East Coast over there. Mr. East, we got Rodeo Joe. We got East Coast Leighton now. Maybe we got to find a way to make that roll off the tongue a little bit easier, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out. David, man, say something. I need to.
You need to process a little bit.
I just need to settle down. I literally drove home like a maniac. You know, you're driving home and, my wife's arm came flying at me like 3 times on the way home because I was, driving maybe a little bit too fast.
Why did you take two cars? Why didn't you take 2 cars knowing that you're going to be?
Well, because we are leaving tomorrow morning. We're driving out to vacation tomorrow morning. So she has things to do as well before we pack up the family and head out on the highway in the morning. So thanks everybody for being here. Thank you everybody let's get Instagram up and running. If you're watching on Twitter, and there's already 70 all there, welcome on Twitter. IG, they're coming along, everybody here. So David, let's go through the chat. We've only got about, 150 comments already to run through, but we won't go through them all. We'll say hello to Mr. Carl from Oz. Let me be for what's up, Carl, Bill Betts. We got Stooks here. We got Mike Double V and Brian. And we got It's Good to Be Back. Is this thing live? David Chase himself was in the chat earlier. There's David Upstate Sports Cards. What's up, buddy? It's good to be back. Got any cup? We got Larry Gitlin here. I know it's late. I hear you guys. On Card Sports, good evening to you. the real Michael Petty. Now, if Mike is Michael, what's Michael Pettylicious? The real Mikey Pettylicious is here with us. Jay Hawker, what's going on, buddy? Stephen Lane is here. What's up, Stephen Lane? He says, but whoever thinks the mouse is a better investment than Mantle is simply goofy. Ooh, I like how we threw in goofy there. That's pretty well played, Stephen Lane. Well played. Upstate says Disney guy was a part of the Lakers purchase recently. Was he? I didn't know he was. I think I might have heard that. Piccolino the cat. We got Orlando. We got Jim Define. We got Outlaws with us. There's Tony Southern Collector. Hodges is here. Foul Ball is back. Absolutely. What kind of Mickey Mouse outfit is this? Says Stu. What's up, Yelia Williams? Coach Neil. Look at all these mouse people in here. Found treasures. What's going on? Yeah. A Yankees fan is here. What's up, Tony? Shaheen is here. We got Boomy. We got, this Sports Cards Live is also sponsored by David Chase. Hey, David, thank you. Thank you for sponsoring.
Hey, anything I could do to contribute.
I like that. I like that. Cat Tracker, what's happening? What's going on? Mookie Chilson. Mookie likes his Mickey Mouse cards, David. I watched that video today. You caught that video, right, Mookie's?
Oh my God. I loved Mookie's passion in that video. Everybody should check that out. He represents the reason why Mickey Mouse has basically resonated with me. And by the way, the first Mickey Mouse card I ever bought was from Mookie. Did you know that?
So yeah. He's our pusher. He's the pusher.
He's the one who ended up pushing me into the Mickey Mouse side of things and just showed me his love of it. I actually bought it for my son, a card, but I loved it so much that every once in a while when he's not looking, I put it in my own collection. But yeah, don't tell him.
Don't let him know. Mickey Mantle, what's happening? Splenda got to catch up on some very important matters that we were an hour late. What's up, Splenda? Brett S. Good day. There's Rob. We got Kunk City here. What's up, Kunk City? Jacob Dahl. There's Josh 90s Auctions. You can do it, Joshy. You can do it, buddy. The professor is here. Jacob Waxpack Wisdom is here with us. Situational Adventures. Ken Fickle. We got Fresh Prince is here. Chris C is here. We got Michael Rader. We got Gord M. Good evening, Gord. We got Georgie Boy. Better late than never. Cartfucius. We got Cartfucius. And Mollico is here. And Jeff McMahon is here. Chris says, I would say this is a Mickey Mouse operation, but that would be an insult to Mickey Mouse. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. What's up, Ben Mala? Welcome. Situational. Will Deal Hollyfield says a Cinderella 1 of 1 just sold for $796,000. Incredible. That's incredible. Are you familiar with that
one? No, we weren't in on that one, Jeremy, huh?
We were not in on that one. I mean, we're not really in on the ultra modern stuff, but hey, maybe one day. I mean, they're nice, but we're starting the back and pushing ourselves forward. I would say Dan Fargo, Mookie Mouse started it all. Jeffrey Clapper, what's up, Jeffrey? Diamond Relics, for the game is here. It's good to be back, says Joe P4 Hobby Prez. And Foul Ball says, I have collected vintage Mickey and Disney for years. Now I have to find a new side lane. Too many collectors. Now, I will just say to you, Foul Ball, don't worry what everyone else is doing. Just do you. Do you. That's all you can do. Do you. Unless you don't want to do you anymore, then change who you is and be some, you is now somebody new. Maybe you do Mickey Mouse or Daffy Duck. You can do what you want to do. So, all right, David, we've now caught up. We've gotten through most of the comments. Welcome everybody. Mollico, I'm tired thinking how tired Josh likely is. Yalia, Disney making wishes come true. You just came off of a big Disney convention, David, and you mentioned I don't know if it was here or was it on Midlife Car Chase with Greg over on the Sports Car Clubhouse YouTube channel, which you guys should all be subscribed to if you're not yet. But you were at the D23 conference, huge Disney conference, and you had mentioned that Topps, this might have been on Sports Cards Live last week, that Topps was there doing, had a giveaway every day for a different card and stuff like that. We are going to talk, the whole show is not going to be about Mickey Mouse, by the way. That was just for the thumbnail. But, your general feel from being there, do you see the sports card hobby kind of permeating into the Disney fandom? Or is that how big of a footprint and how much action was there around the Topps booth with their modern day Disney products? Was it busy? Were kids cracking these things? What did you sense from that?
I get a couple of things from mention. Yes, it was mayhem around the booth, but that's because all of these different booths have giveaways every day, and you just wait in line and you get something for free. That can be a shirt, that can be a ball, that can be a poster. So the Topps one obviously is a different card every day, and it's a card that they only had for D23. So like day one was like the two girls from Frozen, which I should know their names, Anna and Elsa.
Yeah.
I think that day two was like Woody and Buzz, and day three was Mickey and Minnie. And the lines were wrapped around many times. I would say, it would be about anywhere from 45 minutes, like an hour and a half, to be able to pick up your card. So yes, there's a lot of people that were excited about it. At the very beginning of each day, they would have a lot of blaster boxes, and they sold out always within like an hour. So if you got there after an hour and they were selling them for just regular retail prices, you couldn't get them. I saw people kind of opening them in line, but really what it showed me more is how much Disney is embedded in our society. Like, I know that these are crazy Disney folks, right, that are at a convention like this where it sells out in like an hour of like 150,000 tickets, but it's almost all adults, which is also, I think, really funny to see that just everybody has the nostalgia from Mickey. And if you watch Mookie's video, he talks about it. There's not very many of us that have that warm, fuzzy feeling about Willie Mays. I wasn't alive during that time, right? But I do have stories of myself at Disneyland or watching a Disney movie and things like that bring us back to it, which is part of the reason why you're seeing this craziness, because I think a bunch of us kind of have figured this out at the same time, which it's all been around for a long time, but it's just percolating at the moment right now because a lot of people are talking about it, and all of us are kind of saying at the same time, yeah, that is true. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that, which is where I'm coming from.
Yeah. It's sort of a natural progression, not for everybody. I mean, there are a lot of people in our sports card hobby they just want to collect baseball cards or basketball cards or hockey cards and really nothing else. And all the power to you. Like, no one. I mean, I can't speak for everyone that comes through the Sports Cards Live studio here, but I mean, I'm certainly not. I don't think David is ever going to tell someone what to collect. It's like, hey, collect what you like, collect what interests you, and don't be swayed or don't be influenced by any talking head if you don't have the nostalgia for it yourself. Or do, if you want to, then do. Like, you can. Are there really any imposters when it comes to this? When it comes to collecting, like, I felt like when I dabbled in Pokemon out of FOMO, and I realized I'd much prefer not to feel that way internally. But for anyone else, like, go ahead, spend your money however you want to spend your money. So, but I will say, when it comes to this stuff, I enjoy it. I've been, the Superman card, Superman, Batman, some Mickey Mouse stuff, of course, Spider-Man, the Walt Disney Mickey Mouse 1931 Wills card. These cards are going from selling for what, like, high grade, maybe $8,000 to $150,000. Like, it's completely ridiculous what's going on with that. I only say that because it's super surprising that that's happening. And, I did not just start collecting non-sports. It's funny because I went to look when I came back from the National in 2025. I had acquired one of the biggest grails that I wanted to purchase for my own PC was the Superman #1 card from 1940. And so that's a card that I wanted for years, and I only got it a year ago. So it's not like, even for me, for you, David, not brand new into it. But I will say, since you and I started hanging out and talking about it, kind of, that's sometimes all it takes for any genre for you to get wrapped up in a genre, is when it's kind of in the back of your mind, but then you start talking about it with a friend, and then it moves from the back of your mind to the front of your mind, and you're like, yeah. And I'll tell you too, it's so much more fun to collect with some. For me, I won't tell you what to do, anyone out there. For me, it's so much more fun to collect when I can share that passion and excitement with somebody else, whether it's the whole Sports Cards Live community, the chat, whether it's the clubhouse community, whether it's within the midlife cards community, or whether it's on the screen here. It's just so much fun when you when what you're collecting is an exciting topic to talk about with your friends. So in a way, you know, you are somewhat responsible, David, for rekindling the spark in me, because I had it for a long time, and the timing is good with just how much everything is now, that unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we had the last 4 months to do some shopping before things totally went bonkers, and now they've gone totally bonkers, and we might be done. Like you and I'm priced out of the Mickey Mouse Walt Disney 31. You mentioned to me earlier, you're probably now priced out of the Superman #1. Together we have them both, but we both like to have them on our own as well, because we are not partners on our cards. So it's yeah. What do you think of all that?
I agree with you. I mean, these prices are absolutely crazy, and I don't know even how to process them, because it's been such a short amount of time where these like literally within weeks, these prices have gone so crazy. It's really like I haven't like been able to comprehend it. Just like what you said, like there are cards that I missed that I'm not buying, and there are cards that I purchased and I'm like, do I love it that much? Like, you know, these ones that like I really thought that I loved and I was going to have for a while. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And like the ones that kind of are on my mind a lot right now are these Marvel cards, right? 1966, 61, 66. What is it? 66, right?
66.
66. These Marvel cards that I was like, I've been so into, and I have the Spider-Man, and I have a bunch of the other ones, Daredevil, Thor, of the #1 cards. A lot of them I ended up getting at the National or right before, but they have gone up in such an aggressive way. And the thing that scares me about some of these things is that there are a lot of these that are raw. And when we are looking at the pop reports, they are just very low compared to what I believe they are going to be in a year from now. And they're going to stay low because PSA is not accepting these. They are not accepting the low dollar amount cards right now. So there's a lot of people that I think have a bunch of them that are waiting to submit. Finally, when they can submit, it's still going to take them 6 months to get them graded when that eventually happens anyway. So there's a lot of mad rush to a lot of things right now, and I just don't know if the frenzy is going to continue or if there's going to be a lull eventually, just because it went up so quickly, right? Literally within weeks, this has gone crazy, right?
Literally since it's so funny, since the National, things have just exploded, which is crazy. How much would we like to turn back the clock 2 weeks and go back there and buy all the things that you and I were like, yeah, that's a good, that like, I remember walking with you and we're talking to each other, and I think you said in my ear at one point, you're like, should we not just be buying all of these, because they're all like, it's also, there's such good value in this stuff. And we didn't, but now it's like, we should have. From a financial perspective, we should have, because we could have bought those, sold them, come into some money to buy some other cards that have got more, some other sports maybe that became so expensive. So yeah, it's really crazy. But you know what, your comment there about like how, like, is this real? You know, like there's a bunch of comments in the chat. I want to read some, because some of them are, I think, a bit telling. So let me go through a few comments here. First, Fresh Prince here says it's only a matter of time now until Tom Brady opens a card vault in Disneyland. Right? Michael Rader says all kinds of non-sports cards are getting hot. Yeah, we're seeing that. Yankees fan says, I like the 66 Batman Black Bats, as do I. I've had my Batman Black Bat #1 for I think 7 or 8 years now. Foul Ball says, now that everybody's chasing Disney and the prices have jumped, I'm thinking it's time to enjoy what I've got. I love that bit right there. and start looking for the next thing before everybody else finds it. I love that too, because that's fun. Trying to find the next thing, buying it while you can before you're priced out. So
we do that all the time. Like
Yeah.
Jeremy and I are literally when we talk on the phone late at night, we are trying to think of what the
after we whisper sweet nothings at each other, then we start trying to find the thing that has not yet been discovered. Really, Jeff's card journey says, "Forget the mouse and get some Looney Tunes." I mean, there's other things in there as well. Absolutely. David Cooey from Muskegon, Michigan. First of all, special shout out to David, who sent me a lovely care package filled with different things, some cards, a whole bunch of cards, some figures, a really nice letter, like all very, very nice, and a couple of these awesome figures, Mark McGuire and Cal Ripken Jr. These are awesome. They look so cool from the front, but if you turn them to the side, they're super skinny, but they're
cool.
really well done. And then of all the cards he sent me, this is my favorite. I'd never seen these before, but this is it's a dual game face off of Hideo Nomo and Barry Bonds. Like and it's like the pictures of their faces are on a different layer, kind of embedded in the card. And it's even embossed where the stitching is on the baseballs there. It's just a really neat, unique, different card. So thank you, David Cooey, for the very, very thoughtful gesture. He even sent me he sent me Beckett from 1989. Tell me, I can't wait to look at these prices. We talked about going back 2 years. How about going back to July 1989? The prices.
Let's look up a card. Let's look up a card.
Thank you, David, for that. Really thoughtful, and really, really do appreciate that, Mr. David. Kinger is here. What's up, Kinger? Laura says, watch the Star Wars Empire take off when the George Lucas Museum opens next month. Now, I feel like the Star Wars Empire has taken off. Does this mean it's going to take off even more? What do you think, David?
By the way, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like I'm a big nerd, and I collected Star Wars figures were like my life as a very young child. But I feel like Star Wars is a little bit junk wax. The 1977 set, there's so many of them that to me, they aren't cards that really resonate to me, because they're the kind of cards that are worth the most because they're in a high grade. And those kind of cards don't usually resonate with me. That's the only reason why I'm not into them. But at the same time, getting a cool like Darth Vader rookie sounds fun for me. I just don't, it's not something that I'm coveting, but I would have one just for fun in my collection.
Yeah. I've got my Princess Leia. It's landed to ship my cards, and that'll be here soon enough. Orlando here says Hype and FOMO have reached the non-sports card. I don't know if you're laughing at me or at a comment right now, dude.
I'm laughing because I don't know. We discussed this. I never know if we discussed these things on our phone calls or on a show before, but there was a time that Jeremy and we were talking to each other and we were ranking Star Wars characters, and I was just cracking up. And then we were like saying which sports cards live people were each Star Wars character. So we go deep in these conversations, and that's what Princess Leia made me think of that.
We get very philosophical about who's more interesting. Is it? I remember one time he says to me something like, "What about Wilma?" Wilma Flintstone. Like, yeah. What was Barney's wife? Barney Rubble, and what was her name?
Oh my God!
Fred and Wilma, Barney, and
oh my God, what is wrong with me? Wait, Fred and Wilma, Barney and
Betty?
Betty.
Chat. Where
Betty,
are you?
It is Betty. Phew.
Was it Betty?
Man, I can't believe I forgot that. It is Betty. Yeah.
I know. We're not so loyal to
I'm embarrassed right now.
Yeah, we should be. Agree with you. I think Orlando's right. Hype and FOMO have reached it. Like, because people are noticing that a lot of people are doing it right now and they want to not miss out. So Hype and FOMO have reached non-sports cards more than ever right now. Vintage here says my number one target at the National was vintage non-sports. Sports were secondary, not a fad for me. I love non-sports. Yeah, same here. Hopefully it's not a fad. It's okay to get involved in the fad if you want to, but just be responsible and don't get in over your head type of thing is my only advice. Chris C says, agree. Social media is a great way to share our love of whatever we collect. Absolutely agree. Splenda, Dave didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. Splenda, so poetic. I've never heard that before. Brad's Vintage, good evening to you. E. Young is with us. Good evening. Jim Define says comps are changing faster than we can look them up recently. It's true. They're coming in fast and furious. Chad Shipper, what's going on? Watching from vacation in Northern California. Chipper's on the opposite side of the continent right now from where he lives on the East Coast. Hope you're having a great vacation, Chad. Stephen Lane says, are some people, not all, now collecting non-sports and some lower tier athletes because they can't afford GOATs such as Mantle, Jordan, Jackie? I love the question. So hard. I mean, I don't think Stephen is looking at us to answer this because we don't know, right? We don't know, but we have a feeling. And my feeling is that, yeah, I know that it's partially for me. I'm also looking at, I mean, I've been feeling the impact of the higher prices on the GOATs for several months now, maybe close to a year, where I'm now looking at non-rookie year cards. Like I will one day find my way into a 49 Bowman Jackie, but that's kind of like really expensive now compared to what I could have bought a couple years ago. I know we all could have, but when a buddy of mine offered me a PSA 4 a couple years ago for 4,500, and I said, no thanks. Now it's like 12 grand. Like, maybe I'll look at other Jackie cards or, that kind of situation, or really make a, move laterally into another genre where you still have interest and you can afford them. I think that makes a ton of sense. Jim also says, not unlike fashion, sometimes the next thing is a previous thing. Cycles are real. Agreed. Mid-Atlantic says, as kids, I bet most of us watched more Looney Tunes than Mickey Mouse. Don't sleep on Bugs Bunny. Right? I mean, it's an interesting topic as well. Kunk City says the Spider-Man rookie is nice, but give me the 1980 Wolverine rookie all day. I love the 1980 Wolverine, but I love the Batman too. It's so weird, the Batman, but the Wolverine is so sort of.
He's saying Spider-Man, Jeremy.
That's what I was. Oh, he's talking. Sorry, I'm talking Batman, aren't I?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
You like Wolverine better than Spider-Man. I know you.
I do. Oh yeah, my bad. I was confusing Spider-Man with Batman there. Yeah, the Spider-Man rookie, the number 34 from 66 Donruss, while it's a very important card, I suppose, it's not my favorite Spider-Man card in the set. So I'm with you, Kunk, where I like the 19. Listen, I own the 1980 Wolverine. I don't own the Spider-Man number 34. I think I have number 38 or something in my collection. And David Cooey replies, you're very most welcome, Jeremy. Thanks for making your show available. I'm glad you liked everything, sir. I did, man. It was really cool. David, thank you so much. Wilma and Betty. There we go. Betty was a smoke show, says Mollico. You guys better stick to Mickey Mouse. Pebbles was hot when she grew up, says Petty. True Texan. Chris says Bugs Bunny first base, Bugs Bunny second base. Don't know if I get it, but I probably should. Wilma versus Betty, Ginger versus Marianne, says Jim Define. Speaking of Ginger versus Marianne, that's
everyone always, I feel like I'm embarrassed to say this because I feel like it's like not cool to think Ginger's the hotter one, but I always thought Ginger was the hotter one. I mean, I know that Marianne's the girl next door, but for some reason, like I always gravitated to Ginger, but nobody else ever says that, so I'm a little embarrassed by that. But I want to bring something back to sports. We have this is Sports Cards Live, Jeremy.
We're gonna get there in 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I have a question about this, right? When we're talking about these crazy prices, right? I know that non-sports is on everyone's brains because like the 31 Mickey Mouse just sold in a PSA 9 for an unbelievable price, right? So and like the Spider-Man last week did the same thing. So it's like it's very easy fodder for like thumbnails and front page news. But it is happening with all regular sports cards too. This craziness, right? I was telling this to Jeremy, when I bought my Willie Mays rookie at the National, it lulled and had the same price for like a 2-year period. It was not really increasing in value. And then literally the one auction after the National on REA, there was like 6 copies. They all went for like 40% higher than highest comp ever. All of them. Tony was just telling me about signed literally 15 minutes before I got on the air about signed jackies that were like bought 6 months ago. And now they're going for like double what they were 6 months ago. This isn't just a non-sports frenzy. This is a hobby frenzy that we're seeing right now, you know?
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. I certainly agree. And Ron Perry says that people are sleeping on the Alf rookie card.
Let me write that one down.
Alf. Desert Shield Sniper says what's really crazy about the hobby now is grades are no longer trusted. Cards that look stellar are most likely altered, and comps don't matter because everyone wants future value. Well, I agree with a lot of that, but where we say comps don't matter because everyone wants future value, they still matter because they are the baseline. They are the baseline, and then the future value is oftentimes based on that comp. If last one sold for $10,000, the next person wants 12, you know, but if last one sold for 8, they'd probably want 9,500 or 10,000 or whatever. So they still matter. They're still a data point for people, but they're not the end all be all. And I've been saying this for years. If you don't realize this, I mean, you got to think about it. If everyone only ever paid comps, nothing would ever change, but things are changing all the time. So people are paying above comp. People are paying below comp. People are willing to sell below comp. People will pay above comp. It happens every day. It's happened every day since the history of sports cards. So we just sometimes pretend like it's almost like we've let the comp economy dominate and the whole system just take over. And a lot of that is because of what happens at card shows, because of what's going on with the flipper community and the repack community. They're out there buying cards at a percentage of comp most recent sale, because then they can justify putting in a pack and saying, well, this one has a value of $100 because look, it just sold for $100. They bought it for $85. They're making $15. Or they're selling it for $120 because of the service fee or the service of, you know, the entertainment and all that, and they're making a bit more money. So the whole comps are still important to the overall ecosystem. And I'm not saying that you got to live by them. I certainly don't, and I won't. I may or may not sell by them, and I may or may not buy by them. But that's going to be very situational and contextual. Will Deal Hollyfield says they were both hot, both Ginger and Marianne. Splenda shouting out the hot mama Gingers out there. Can't believe I read that one. And Mid-Atlantic Card Show says, how about Wonder Bread Star Wars? They are great looking cards. Ryan, I owned the Wonder Bread Star Wars cards about 7 or 8 years ago, and I let them go. That's one of those cases where I was literally like, 4 or 5 years ahead of the trend, and I didn't stick it out. And for financially, it would have paid off. And now, if I want to go get them again, I don't have them anymore. But I let them go on a consolidation. They just didn't make the cut. And now I'm willing to, where the price is right, get back into certain. I don't know. I'll go Wonder Bread, but I'm very excited for my Princess Leia 77 Star Wars card. So, all right, I want to. You know what, David? Anything to put a whole bow on the non-sport thing? I mean, we may come back to it a bit with some more comments later, but. Any final sort of thoughts?
No, but do you think that just happened yesterday? That 1931 Will's Mickey Mouse card that sold for $125,000. Is that? Are we at the height? Are we at a top, or do you think that we're going to continue to increase? Over? Do you think? How about this question? Do you think that Will's Mickey Mouse card will be more in 12 months from now than it is now?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is that too hard of a question to ask?
I mean, we've seen them go just nuclear in the last 2 weeks.
I know. Yeah.
So, is that going to pull back? I mean, you sort of think all this stuff is going to pull back a little bit, right? I mean, It's just gone too crazy. But
I'm saying, be careful, everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. But then there's the but, which is like, what are the underlying factors that are driving this? And are they themselves going to sustain? Are they going to ramp up even more? Here's a key point, I think, to all this, because, Dave and I were talking about this too. And this I think this almost came off of the discussion that was had on with Petty and Tony when they were talking on their show talking about a lot about Willie Mays and like what players, what athletes are going to still be relevant 20, 30, 40, 100 years from now, 150 years from now, even. Who's going to be relevant? Will Willie Mays still be relevant? Will Mickey Mantle be relevant? Will Hank Aaron, will Ty Cobb, will Babe Ruth still be relevant in 100 years from now? And then it's like, I think I made the comment to you, David. I said something like, hey, Superman, Spider-Man, like Superman's been quiet on the pop culture scene lately in terms of new movies. I think there's some TV series, but at any time, Hollywood could create a new Superman movie, bring him back to life, basically. They can bring any of these fictional characters back to life anytime they want and have a whole new revival of interest around those characters. Willie Mays, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, you can't bring them back to life. Now, you can do a documentary about them, which we didn't consider, David. You can still do, but is that going to catch fire like a major studio film out of Hollywood being produced for $300 million to flex what the latest technology coming out of Hollywood? Probably not. I don't think we're going to see a Mickey Mantle or a Babe Ruth movie or a Ken Griffey Jr. movie or anyone like that is going to be able to compete with the firepower that the fictional characters have to be rebooted anytime they want to be. So in a way, go.
Even with like a new movie coming out, like let's say there's a new Satchel Paige movie, right? That catches fire, right? And captivates audiences. That's like a one-time event, right? But they could bring back the Flintstones, right? For like a 10 movies and have a new TV show and things like that. It's not like a one-time event. These old IPs that are family nostalgia items are just they can just come back at any time for long periods of time and be relevant again, which is a little different than these sports figures, which, this is just us kind of going back and forth and just thinking like how huge the market for these non-sports can eventually become. Even though we think that they're crazy right now, it's just it's hard to comprehend people that are not sports cards collectors who could get into something like this, right? It's just so much more of the population, right? There's a lot more people that love Mickey Mouse than Babe Ruth, as crazy as it sounds.
It's true. And I remember when I started dabbling in music cards, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, the foreign cards, the small ones, and I love this stuff. And I still do. I let some go, but I kept the core, my favorites, and now I'm building it out again. And I love those cards. I love having a John Lennon card or a Mick Jagger card, Jimi Hendrix. Like, it's so much fun. And it's something that, like, music, everyone in the world loves music. Pretty much, music is more so it's globally loved. Is there a culture out there that doesn't have their own style of music that they love? No, not everyone out there loves every single artist who's ever been around. So there are it's not like a regional sort of thing like you have in sports, more like just a preference, a taste sort of thing. But it always seemed to me like it was underappreciated by the hobby or had potential to become more popular. And we're starting to see it more and more. There's lots of comments, guys. What's up, Skeppy? I got this is a Sports Cards Live t-shirt. This is actually a brand new Sports Cards Live t-shirt that I had made. I had a bunch of them at the National, gave a bunch of them away. What do you got on today, David?
This is the band Wild Stallions. If you know, you know.
Very nice. Mike Kemp is too many people are pumping everything, which, I think there's a combination. I think there's degrees of pumping. There's different intentions behind pumping. I think pumping in the hobby now just means anybody talking about what they love. That is now considered pumping. So when you start there and you say, I love something, or not even people talking about what they love, people talking about anything is now going to be interpreted by somebody out there as pumping. So then it comes down to, do you truly love this stuff? Are you talking about it because you're excited that you found something that you want to collect or that you got a new card for that collection? I think that's fair pumping. If you're just pumping something, if you're buying something, then pumping it and talking about it and getting the word out there, and then you're going to sell it, I mean, that to me is a little bit, it's just a little bit more, it's less honest,
Sleazy.
maybe. It's more, financially profit motivated. So, but listen, it's a free country. There's nothing illegal about that. But that's not the point. The point is, I get excited about cards all the time that I have. Like even me showing this card that David Cooey brought. I think it's really cool. I got this card. I looked it up. I went online and I said, who else is in this set? Maybe I'm going to have 3 or 4 cards from this set. Just so happens, from what I could figure out, David sent me what I think is the best card on the checklist. Although I didn't see the checklist, I just went and looked on eBay and ComC and saw what was out there. So, but right there, am I pumping this card right now? Like, yes, I think people could say, oh, because some people will interpret anybody talking about anything as pumping. So my point to Ham's comment here is that like, to make sure you're never accused of pumping something, you cannot talk about what you like. You just can't do it. So that's why I just have fun with it. I say, yeah, let's pump it away. We're pumping away. But what we're not doing is pumping and dumping. If me sharing my love for my cards is pumping my cards, so be it.
And I'll say that by us talking about it has actually hurt us more than helped us, because we're not selling these cards. Okay. And there's a lot that we've been trying to buy. And I wish that we could buy more of the cards that have been discussed. And I don't think it's only us that are talking about it. I'm not trying to take credit in that kind of way or have people throw tomatoes at me. But it is funny, kind of like what you're saying. There's a lot of people who have mentioned on other shows that like there's all these people pumping vintage non-sports cards. And in the same show, they're like, but this is my signed 1971 card that I love more than anything. And it's like, that's all that we're doing too. You're showing your card that you love. We're showing what we're excited about and that we love. We're not doing it to profit in any kind of way. We're just discussing why we love these things. And sometimes other people agree with it and sometimes they don't. Right. And, but it's just always funny to me how there's a large amount of people right now that are like, everyone is pumping non-sports vintage. Everyone is pumping that. It's just something that we're into right now. And for me, just like what Jeremy said earlier, it's because sports cards that I love are very expensive and I don't want to spend the kind of money for the grails that I'm looking for. I need to save up for those. I will still be buying them. Baseball vintage is my jam forever. But at the same time, I just can't buy them very often, but I can buy a Barney Rubble card whenever I want. That's the silliness of this game,
And and at the end of the day, like, it is a game and it is silly. We are collecting cards with pictures of men, women, and fictional characters on them, historical figures, so make fun. Like if there aren't people out there kind of poking fun at what we're doing, not just you and me, everybody in the whole community, right? If there aren't people out there poking fun at us, we're not loud enough about it. And I've always been proud to be a card collector. I've never, through high school, through college and university, through my early career, if anyone asks me, hey, what do you do for fun? I say, I collect cards and play some poker. Like that's, and hang out with my buddies. That's what I've done. Never been ashamed of being a card collector, never hid it from anybody. I've worn that as a badge of honor my whole life. I've always thought it was cool, even when other people didn't. I just didn't care. Like I freaking love collecting cards. Which is why I don't like it when, oh, you can buy the whole jersey for that if you want. I don't collect jerseys. I just don't care. Don't tell me what I can collect otherwise. But at the same time, I'm open to suggestions because I might discover something new. Someone might say, hey, why don't you collect this? I'm like, wait a second. That sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe I'm going to start collecting that. Although I don't know how much capacity I have to collect more things than I already do. So
I like everyone's suggestions. It totally resonates with me. If Mookie didn't show me that Disney card, I wouldn't probably be as into Disney right now. So people are influencing me. I know we don't like to say those kind of words, but inspiring me in many different ways. Greg inspired me to buy the 1951 Mays rookie card. I listen to everybody, and even people that I disagree with. That's okay. I just like to hear everyone's perspectives, and I take the part that I enjoy or take the part that I'm like, that kind of makes sense. Why is that? And that's part of the game that I play. So I love hearing people's opinions that are different than mine, that are into things that I'm not into. If I'm not into it yet, I'm still storing it. I'm not that into patch cards at this time, but I understand why they're amazing. And I'm not going to say that I won't be into them in the future.
That's the thing. You're allowing your mind to remain open. You're opening yourself up to new interests down the road. Jahan says, I believe this is a baseline. Sorry. I believe this is a baseline that is being set, not a bubble. Even a little pullback doesn't matter much on rare things. I could see that, Jahan. I can see that being the case. Yankees fan says, I was buying more music cards with you 5 or 6 years ago, still buying them. I love that lane I took. Started with the Beatles and Kiss cards a long time ago. Same with me, Tony. Beatles, although you might remember Beatles, and I even had a Kiss card. I don't have the Kiss card anymore. Upstate says it's passion, not pumping. I know. I believe that too. However, just knowing how you can be perceived by people who don't watch you enough to really know you the way that you can get to know a talking head on YouTube by spending every Saturday night for 6 years with them, 3 to 4 hours a week. Some people will become accusatory and say that you're pumping it. And I say, yes, I am. Like, I'm just going to lean into it now because like, yeah. But am I going to dump it? No. Am I really pumping it no, it actually hurts. Like David said, I can't buy cards I want to buy anymore. It sucks. That does suck. But it's nice seeing the cards you own go up in value. But I do know I've lived through this hobby for too long to rest on my laurels and think that every card I have now and the value associated with it right now is permanent, because those values can easily come down. I've held through the downswings each and every time there has been a downswing. So I feel like it's coming at some point. When, I don't know. So yeah, fun stuff. Yelia says, where do you land on the anti-pump when you speak negatively on a set or card to drive the price down? Where do I land on that, Yelia? I don't like it. And the reason why, it's like, I don't like it, but you cannot stop shenanigans in our space. There's just too much money involved for there not to be, unfortunately. But for me, I get too excited about something that I can't stop myself from being excited about it and talking about it with excitement. There's no way that I can like pretend not to like something I love. I just don't know that I'm capable of doing that. And David, go ahead.
Yeah, I think just that comment right there, I think it's unethical to talk about a card only to pump it up to sell it. And I think it's unethical to talk negatively about a card to buy it for cheaper. And there are times where I don't want to discuss a card because I'm like trying to find it and I don't want it to be said at that point. But you know what? I'm not very good at that either. Because in my mind, when I started collecting music cards, I was like, I'm not going to tell any of my friends or anything online about it for like a year as I like try to slowly like build my collection. It lasted like a month. Okay. I'm too excited about it and I want to talk about it with friends. And then if I'm talking about it with friends, I feel like it's ingenuous for me to like get a cool card that I'm excited about and not talk about it because we have this kind of platform. So, I'm just saying that I agree with everybody about what the negative sides are of this, but it's genuine. Just letting you guys know. Okay. You can take it or leave it.
100%. Thank you, Yelia. Jay-Z here says the title of tonight's show says a lot. Mickey Mouse over Mickey Mantle? No chance. And I hope that title brought people into the show tonight. The titles are designed to give a bit of a peek into what we're planning to talk about, but also to be a little provocative to get people to want to come watch and listen and be a part of this. Flint Hall says, I got banned from a wannabe live show. This show is the real GOAT Sports Cards live show. Flint Hall, we've been through a lot together over the last few months. I'm not surprised you got banned from another show, but you're good here, buddy. You got a home here with Sports Cards Live. Skeppy says, okay, this is a different topic. So I'm gonna hold that one for a minute. I'm gonna go through a few more and then we're gonna come back to Skeppy's. Jim Define says there's a difference between pumping and dumping and expanding awareness by sharing information. Not all people are selfish and greedy. Thank you, Jim. Bingo. Agree. Situational says it depends on the delivery of the passion. For example, Orlando and others show and tell with no discussion about values. Yeah. I mean, if all you're doing is, if all you love about your cards are the values, then, I mean, hey, great. Good for you. That's fair. It's fair game, so, but if you love cards for cards, like I think most of us do in this on this show, in this chat, then it's the right way. It's the right way. I'm confident that I do it that way. I know David does. Mike Ham says, when Gary V speaks, people buy and they chase. Absolutely. I mean, he's got a lot of influence, and he inspires a lot of people when he speaks, because he's got a track record of being able to spot a trend or spot and almost create a trend. And he's got a lot of followers. You know, he's got a lot of followers on social media. I don't know if you guys know, but like in the millions. So it's just, it is what it is. So if you don't want to get caught up, don't buy what he's talking about. That's a really good way. Buy what he's going to talk about next if you want to get ahead. LGJ says, I got some crap recently for collecting, and then I showed them the prices and they zipped it quickly. Yeah, I mean, these values are bringing so many more people out of the woodwork, and they're asking all of us like OG collectors about the hobby. I'm getting it in my outside the hobby life. David, I know you're getting it in yours. I know a lot of us are. Most people watching right now, you're probably known in your social circles as being a collector, and your acquaintances are coming to you lately and they're asking you, what is going on? What should I be buying? I hate when someone asks me, what should I buy? It's just like, that's the worst question to ask me. What should I buy? You want to ask me, what would you rather have, this card or that card? I'll tell you what I would want. But if that's going to help, if what I want is going to drive your purchase decisions, I claim no responsibility on what may or may not happen with those cards' values and based on the price point you're getting in on them. That's all up to you. Go ahead.
And you know, to say that you received some crap recently for collecting, I've always received crap for collecting, right? It's always been a little bit of my my nerdy side, and 95 until like 6 months ago, I had like no friends who were collectors, right? Like I was the only collector of my entire group of friends, and I was known as like, you know, this was my nerdy side, that David was into his baseball cards, and everybody made fun of me and things like that. But you know what? Just take it in. Okay, we know that it's like a fun, quirky kind of way of collecting. It's becoming more mainstream and actually a lot cooler now than it's ever been. But you know, I take it as a badge of honor. And if you have high enough self-esteem, then people actually, they share the passion with you. And then sometimes when they come over, they like, you know, all right, let me see your Jackie Robinson card you're in love with, you know, and then I kind of, they start to actually understand and appreciate it little bit by little bit. But just saying, we're all going to get crap for anything that we do that's outside of the norm, right? Outside of the normal way that people live life. But it's fun, and it's okay to have specific things that make you different than the rest of your friends.
Bingo. We talked a lot about identity. I think on the Hangover the other day, or was it Sports Cards Live? There's so much content. It's but yeah, I totally agree. I love that comment, David. Okay, Mike Ham says title auction houses pump cards up to sell them like golden auctions. Of course they do. Like, you almost got to give auction houses a pass that because that's their business. They're in business to get the most money for cards for their consigners. So to have any expectation that they're not going to do that is just not even silly, and you're not living in reality. But that's what they're supposed to do. And if you're ever going to sell a card, you're going to sell, and you're going to sell it through an auction house, you want them to talk about it. It's just the way it goes. Mickey Mantle says, talking about cards like you isn't automatically pumping. Hype is one thing. Misleading people to drive up prices is another. Well said, Mickey Mantle. Right, David? I mean, that kind of, yeah, that's well said, Mickey Mantle. Let's go. Jordan says, what do you think of the Mint G1 case? That's Brian Pirip's company. Brian's a great guy. Met him several times. I think they're awesome. I think they look great. And I know there was just a Ichiro in a Mint G1 case that sold on one of the Heritage maybe for like $150,000 just like last night. The Mint G1 case, like I think it's $500 just to get your card into one of these holders. So they're for the ultra elite cards, but man, they do look nice, and maybe the safest way to hold the card. I don't know. Jay-Z says, Jeremy always discusses everything I'm trying to buy. Jay-Z, that's because we go way back, buddy, and we have similar tastes in many things. Brad Vintage says, the two questions I hate the most are, what should I buy, and what is your most valuable card? Oh, me too, Brad. It's because as soon as someone asks what's your most valuable card, I'm like, I just want to show you like some of my favorites, you know, and it may or may not be that my most valuable is one of my favorites. Right now it's in there, it's in the mix, but it's not my all-time favorite card. So I'm with you, Brad. Dave?
But you also don't like when somebody asks you what your favorite card is also, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, I also don't like that. I don't.
Yeah.
If you could only own one card, what card would it be? It's like, no.
That's another one you don't like.
No,
yeah.
I'm not. I can't answer that question. That's impossible. West 238th Street, Dean says, keep pumping Mickey Mouse as I stock up on my Donald Ducks, Popeyes, and Jiminy Crickets. So speaking of non-sport, I just have to. I was telling David, this is a 1951 Parkhurst or Parkies like comic funnies set. I bought this from Bobby Burrell several months ago. He knew that I would like something like this. And the reason why I bring it up is because it's got this amazing Popeye card in it. So here we go, guys. Just be warned, here comes a pump, because I'm going to show you some cards I like in my collection. So here comes the pump, everybody, for all you pump police out there. Check this card out. Look at how cool this is. This is Popeye. Now, this is not a Popeye first appearance card. This is from 1951. He's got cards from like the 30s, I believe. But to me, that pink, that yellow background, he's like a full follow through on the punch. He just knocked someone to stars there. Full body shot of good old Popeye. Like, that's such a neat card. And I grew up with Popeye. You know, so
what year is that?
1951.
And what is Parky? Is that like a food or
Parkhurst? So Parkhurst, which made hockey cards in 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, all the way through like 62 or 63. It's a major brand of hockey card. Gordie Howe
just came in regular packs.
Yes,
those kind of cards.
They came out. Yeah, these would have come out in little packs. Exactly. So I think this might be a Canadian issue. I would think so. I'm not 100% certain, but this is a neat set that I've had it sitting on my desk for months. I don't really look at it a lot, but I was looking at it more the other day. I'm like, oh, let me look closer at this now. And I went to search for them. I open up Auction Wire and I start searching all the different platforms for these cards, and there's like none available. I went to ComC. I don't think there's a single card from this set on ComC. So this is a really obscure sort of set that I don't think anyone really knows about, and it might not be that important of a set. Like I don't think there's any key cards. There's like, I think there's 6 different like IPs represented. 4 I'd never heard of. One is Popeye, the other is Dick Tracy. So here's the Dick Tracy card just to show you guys what that is. It's actually pretty neat too. That's a good look at it right there. Nice. About to shoot his gun as they're driving. He's doing a drive-by shooting. This is a drive-by shooting on cardboard here, you guys. So but that was okay.
That's a gangster card right there, Jeremy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I hear what you're saying there, Dean. Good comment. Oh man, since I started talking about those, we have 30 more comments. You guys are on fire tonight. Yes, Britta. I am moving beyond rookies in both sports and non-sports. And even when it comes to 66 Don Russ, the Marvel stuff, I'm priced out of Spider-Man number 34, which is his first. He has 11 cards in that set. 6 or 11. They each have 11. There's 6 characters, 11 cards each. I don't think I'm going to get that number. And I don't love that card anyway. I got a different Spider-Man from that same set that I really do like. So it just allows you to buy more cards. I'm stretching my budget a little bit. Oh, yeah. Dean says, sick Popeye J. You like that, hey? I'm glad you do. All right. Let's go back now to Skeppy's question, which ties into your episode, David, Midlife Card Chase that just dropped, I think, yesterday with Greg. Today. Yeah. And I don't think I got through the whole thing, but I watched. I talked to you earlier. I got through the first like 45 minutes, and I didn't get to finish it off. I will later on my walk tonight. Let's go to Skeppy's question now. Here we go, Skeppy. He says, I wanted to get your thoughts about MBA disclosing the cards they have seen that did not get a sticker. I think we should be able to check the cert on MBA to know if the card has been seen by them. That's I see privacy issues there somewhat for the seller. Okay, you know what? Go ahead, David. I'll let you talk about it.
I have a lot to say about this.
Go ahead.
So, I was always able to do that. You've been able to do this until about a month and a half ago, where literally any single cert that was submitted to MBA, you're able to put it into their website and it would tell you if it was already submitted to MBA. I thought that was a normal thing. Then there was a time that I was about to submit some cards to MBA. I went onto their website and I'm checking to be like, did I submit this one? I don't remember. I looked and the cert just wasn't coming up. And I was like, what is going on? And then it looked like only the certs with the stickers were coming up and it wasn't showing the ones that did not qualify anymore. It changed. And it got me very annoyed at MBA when that happened. So when I did my last submission with MBA, I spoke to them about it and I said, what happened? And they said, oh, what do you mean? Like, you can look up the cert. I said, you used to be able to look up the cert of cards that were submitted and now you can't anymore. Why is that? And they just said, well, you know, things change. And, you know, we don't really have a comment about what we can say about that. My opinion, it's a money grab. It makes it where now we have to submit sometimes the card multiple times. And I want to know if the card's been submitted or not. I think they should have full transparency. And I don't like that they stopped allowing you to do that on their website.
Okay. I don't even know about this, so I don't have many thoughts, but I'm all for transparency for anything, really. So that makes good sense to me, David. Are we good with that then? There's some more. There's a few other comments that do tie into NBA, so we'll come to those. Situational says Jay Lee just said midlife car chase is too wordy without saying it's too wordy. Midlife car. It's only 4 words in midlife car chase, and midlife is 1 word, 2 syllables. So if you're talking about the episode itself, no, I actually was really enjoying it. But I was literally. I was watching it at home. Then I got in my car. I was listening to it through my car stereo. Had to go pick up a Slab Sharks consignment. Had an appointment for Slab Sharks today. And then I got home and I had to take my kids to the mall to buy freaking squishies and Neatos. If all you parents out there know what that trend is all about right now.
Neatos.
Oh my gosh. We spent 2 hours at the mall going back and forth because they've had lemonade stands. They've made some money. They want to go spend it on toys. And, that's what so I just didn't have time. Then we had an event. So anyway, Will Deal Hollyfield says MBA is nothing more than a money grab. Of course it is. But guys, what business isn't a money grab? What isn't a money grab anymore? Like, seriously, what is not a money grab? Aren't you allowed to open a business and sell your product and or services to people who are willing to fork over money for that? Like, isn't that the way a capitalistic society works? Like, the term money grab to me is like you're wearing blinders if you don't think that everything is a money grab out there. So we need maybe we just need a new word for it besides money grab. Maybe what you're saying is it's nothing more than a product or service that has no value. But that's not true because people are still buying it. So I don't really know. Whenever someone says something, and I'm not coming at you, Will Deal Hollyfield, just because you're using a term that's very convenient. A lot of people use it all the time. But I just, I want to just talk about it for one more moment. Like, anytime I see someone, I see a comment on an Instagram chat or on a YouTube video, it's a money grab. It's a money grab. I mean, McDonald's started selling pizza at one point in time. Like, is that not a money grab? Isn't that a money grab? I don't know. Louis Vuitton purses, are they really worth $8,000 for a handbag? Is that not a money grab? Like a Rolex. Oh, I love the mechanism. I love the mechanism inside the watch because I'm so passionate about watch mechanisms. So I'm going to go buy a Rolex for $15,000. Is that not a money grab? Like, I'm being a little facetious, but maybe you get the point. Well, maybe you don't. I don't know. Go.
I mean, I think that, a lot of people think like, is MBA, this is why Greg and I did this episode. Is it good for the hobby or not? I think we give pros and cons of both and try to be as objective as possible and saying like, there are good things about it and there are negative things about it. But it's okay to hear both sides. And I think that anybody that has like the strongest opinion of all time, I think that that's just a little one-sided. I think that you can believe one way, but you can understand the other side. And that's really what it's about. And I understand people that think NBA isn't for you. And I think that the biggest knock on NBA is probably the backstory of the owners, which I understand. And by the way, I don't understand. Okay. But like I hear everybody talking about it. I just don't know all of the specifics in it. And I totally understand that side of it. And I understand that it's making cards more expensive, which for some people is very annoying. So that's the negative side, but there is a positive side too. And if you want to watch the episode, you can see both of those sides. But just giving you the heads up where if you feel so passionate towards one side versus the other, I think it's okay to just listen to what the other side has to say. And it's somewhere in the middle. It might not be for you, but you just get it. You understand the game of why it's out there.
Thank you, David. Appreciate you jumping in on that. Ryan Kahn says, why do people want the mediocre Spider-Man 1966 card versus the stunning 62 first appearance comic book? I'll tell you why, Ryan Kahn. I don't collect comics. I have zero interest in comic books. I don't care. Comic books, I don't own a single comic book. I don't ever think I'm going to. So it's to me, I appreciate the comment, and I know there's a lot of comic book collectors out there, and I know there's a lot of comic book and card collectors out there. So if you collect comics and cards, maybe I can see this comment kind of having an impact on those people. But even then, it's like he's at Ryan. Thank you. Glad you're here. He's asking the question, why do they want that? I'll tell you, because I do want, and I own a 66 Spider-Man card. I've never once considered owning any Spider-Man comic book. Like, not since I was 12 years old. Literally nothing. And I'm not saying that it's for kids. Hey, I collect cards. I collect Spider-Man cards. So obviously that's not the thing. I'm just saying that I don't collect comic books. I am not interested in collecting comic books. That's why. Ryan, I think it's really as simple as that. Go ahead, David.
As I was saying, I don't collect comic books now, but I have like 20 of them from when I was a child that I really like. And I would love to have that Amazing Fantasy first appearance of Spider-Man, but also that comic is like, I don't know, $17,000, $20,000 minimum for the worst condition one. Well, this is a version that you can have a card that's also a version of his first appearance that's 1,000 or 2, which is a lot less than that. For me, which I might be different than a lot of other people, if I was spending $30,000 on a Spider-Man card, I would rather have the comic than the card. That's just me.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
GST Warrior says, using the term money grab is just a way to tell you are brain dead to how the real world works. The only thing I'll say to that, GST, is that I think that it's just I don't think that when people say it's a money grab, I don't think they mean that. I think they're saying something deeper, which I was trying to explain earlier what I think they're trying to say, and I have not been able to get that straight in my head yet. Maybe someone in the chat can. What are people really saying when they call something a money grab? Because hey, look at this guy started a business, money grab. Oh, they opened up a new coffee shop across from the other coffee shop, money grab. Everybody needs money. Do the rich want to get richer? The poor want to get rich. The middle America wants to become first class. Like, everybody wants more money. I mean, if you don't want more money, that's fine too. Maybe not everybody wants more money. Most people want more money. So it's just kind of reality. Like, you gotta be a little bit practical. So that's why I don't think that money grab is the right term. Sundin here says, flipping is a money grab. MBA provides a useful service to some people. I think they do. Flipping is a money grab. Guys, flipping is a hustle. It's a way to make money. People are, LCSs are flippers. They're more established, but they flip all the time. I see people putting up on Instagram buying collections. I shout out Leighton Sheldon buying collections. Chris Sewell is buying collections. Why? To sit on them? No, none of these guys are buying collections. They are buying collections to make money selling them. And they're doing it professionally. And they're doing it with responsibility, integrity, and fairness. At least as far as I know. So flipping, when we say flipping is a money grab, I mean, there's very few people that haven't ever flipped a card. I know a bunch of you are here that haven't, and God love you. But everybody in air quotes has flipped a card here and there. So is it a money grab? Maybe the money grab, and where I think we get offended by this as sports card collectors, is where we see like foreigners. And by I don't mean people from other countries. I mean people who haven't put in their time in the hobby, coming in, skipping the whole like building nostalgia, skipping the whole collecting for love steps and going straight to flipping. And we're like, hey, get out of here. Like you're on our turf. You're extracting money from the hobby, and you haven't earned the right to do that yet. With that said, there's no barrier to entry. There's no hurdle to people getting into that business. So again, you just have to understand it's happening and adapt to live within it. Upstate says, my kids run me all around with those Nitos. They have them at card shows, so it helps get the kids to card shows. Yep. Neo wants to know, what do comps look like on Lemonade these days? Guys, it's gotten crazy on the Lemonade. I'm not even kidding, because it's funny. On our street, there's one prime spot. So the families the kids take turns. And so, we all support each other's kids, right? First of all, these kids are short pouring these glasses, I got to tell you. For the cup is this big, they're filling it to here, and they're charging you $2. And who has $2 on them? So it's usually like, here's, because in Canada where I live, we don't have dollar bills. Our smallest bill is a $5. So we don't carry coins much. So, okay, here's $5. Give me 2 cups, kid. Thank you. It's like, so it's not 25 cents anymore.
Jeremy, my son's wanting to make a lemonade stand too. Are you buying pre-made lemonade, or are you making it when they're doing it?
Honey, how are we? I don't know, buddy.
My son asked me that question. I was like, do we have to make it? I guess so, huh? I guess that's the way you make the most profit out of it.
Yeah, buy the powder, mix it up, right? The Nest tea or whatever it is. All right, back to Sports Cards Live. Michael Rader says, isn't it a conflict? This is going to be for you, David. Isn't it a conflict of interest when NBA puts a sticker on a card to make more money, a percentage of the value of that card? Same with PSA and up. I think what he's saying is NBA charges you a percentage of the value of the card to put a sticker on it. And I think that conflict of interest, or the perceived conflict of interest, is that, well, aren't you motivated to put a sticker on it so you can charge your customer more?
I'm taking it as, should we be wary of NBA because they make more money if they sticker a card, just like how PSA makes more money if they give you a higher grade with the upcharge. And I guess we should be wary of all of those kind of things. But the thing that kind of surprises me about this, which I agree with you, and I've always kind of thought that, is that I think it's harder to get a high grade in PSA than it ever has been, which is kind of goes against that way of thinking, right? Where we always are like, nowadays, these new certs on PSA, let's first do PSA before NBA. These new certs on PSA labels are harder graders, right? We always are trying to buy these new certs and we're like, wow, back in the day, that would have been a 6, but now it's a 4. So if they were in it for the money grab, wouldn't you think that you'd be seeing more like higher grades these days? Just a thought. And NBA, yes, that is a thought that they might be stickering more cards. But here's the thing. It is very, very rare that you see cards with stickers on it that you think, how did that get a sticker? Happens every once in a while, but they will kill their brand if they start stickering cards that don't deserve it. And it is very tough to get that sticker. And the price that you pay is so low for what it brings value to that card. And by the way, they don't go off of the highest comp pricing. They go off of average comps, which a high eye appeal is always going for more than that also. So am I saying everything's perfect? No. Is there something to be wary about? Yeah, you should be wary about everything in the hobby. So I just haven't seen the sketchy side of it. Not saying that it's not there, though.
Thank you, David Chase. Brad's Vintage says, seriously, to me, graded comic books make no sense. Why take a book and only let you see the cover and the back? And the only thing about that, Brad, that I've heard people say, because I have the same thoughts as you, is that they buy 2 copies. Now, obviously, for the very expensive comics, they're all graded. You're not going to do that. But when it comes to new ones, that's what I've heard that people do.
Sorry, I was going to say something very quick about that. I agree with that for most kind of comics, but if it's like you have an amazing fantasy, that Spider-Man comic, for you to flip the pages on a comic that's $30,000 is probably a scary thing to do, just like playing with your Mickey Mantle card outside of the holder. So at the same time, you're probably not going to read that comic. There's reproductions of every big comic that you can buy for $1.50 or whatever, $5, right? Buy that one if you have an expensive comic. And yes, you're not going to read the one that's really expensive. Keep that one away.
There you have it. Thank you, David. Vintage Oddball says MBA is great for flippers, not for collectors. Any thoughts on that, David?
I totally understand that way of thinking, but you'd be surprised. I understand that for you, that's how you are. For me, I'm trying not to buy cards for my collection because I don't want to pay the tax of NBA stickers. But there are a lot of people, which might surprise you, that love that cards with NBA stickers. You might think that they're wrong and you might think that they're dumb, but everybody can collect their own way. And I know of some huge collectors that only buy NBA cards, which I know some people think that sounds funny. And they are not new to the hobby. They are old school collectors, but they are just crazy high eye appeal and they want those cards that look best for the grade. So there are collectors that like them, even though you're not that into them. And I completely understand both sides.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure about that. I think NBA is great for buying. Like, I don't want to buy cards with NBA stickers on. I feel like I have you know, I'll say it because I do believe it, but I am just as good at applying an eye appeal assessment on a card as anybody, as David Chase, as Mike Petty, as Mike Baker, as PW, the guy at Fanatics, as the guys at Four Sharp Corners who do it now. I have, and I prefer my eye appeal assessment to anybody else's because it's my eye, it's my money, it's my cards. So I don't want to buy cards that already have NBA stickers on them because it's like I missed the boat. I'm now going to pay that tax for it. I'd rather not. I'm going to go through a few more comments, and then we're going to bring on a guest to the show. I got you there. We'll bring on. Give me 2 minutes. We're going to talk about a specific topic with him. Moloko says working is a money grab. Isaac says I flip, which is funny, but it's like, yeah, you need to grab money. Isaac says I flip to fund the collection. I mean, I do some of that too, buy a collection, but I paid my dues. I'm not going to apologize for that. Silver Raccoon says money earning with integrity is fine, and maybe the morality, which is subjective to the individual saying it, defines money grab. The term is misused. Okay, lots there in a weird, hard for me to follow that comment right now. So I'm going to move on. Harvey Berger says, in your opinion, what duration of holding a card then selling meets the flipping definition? That's a really interesting question. I mean, you can flip a card, you can buy a card at 10 a.m. and flip it at 11 a.m., you know, or you can buy a card at one card show, sell the next card show the next weekend, or you can buy it in September and sell it next summer, depending on when you get through processing the items of that collection. So I don't know that I put a timeline on it. David, do you put a timeline on what defines flipping?
No, to me, it's not the duration of time. It's the thought of when you buy the card, if you are buying it to sell it. That to me is flipping, not for how long you have it. If I'm buying a card and I know it's not a card that's going to be in my collection and I'm selling it, I don't know if it's in 1 month or 6 months from now, but if the intent is to sell it, to me, that's flipping.
Absolutely. And then 2 more quick ones here while I bring up a website for when our guest comes on. Oh, no, just one. Mitch Grotman, what's up, Mitch? Says it has nothing to do with time duration. It purely has to do with your duration at the time of the purchase. Okay, I don't know that I follow that perfectly, but Jay-Z said it in a way that made sense. He says, buying a card that you have no intention of owning is flipping. That makes, if you absolutely. I've done it I bought collections. I shop, I get high on my own supply, right? I buy some car, I keep some for myself. The rest straight to card shows. Absolutely. Okay. Intent makes a flipper. Can see that for sure. Will Deal Holyfield says 99% of the people in the hobby are flippers now. I wonder about those grand gesture sort of comments. But okay. I want to bring up a screen share, and then we're gonna bring on the person. So what you guys might have heard last weekend, we had two $1.3 million sales, all basically right within the same day of each other. We saw a Hannes Wagner, the Frankenwagner, sell for 1.3 million or so, and we also saw the Macklin Celebrini Gold Outburst sell for just shy of $1.3 million. I believe that one's the Celebrini sold on Golden, I believe it was. And we're gonna bring up now, if you are interested in this hockey card selling for $1.3 million, my friends over the Hockey Cards Gong Show, they have had the person who sold the card, who had the card and sold it. They've had him on the show twice now, once sort of before it sold and once after. And those are really interesting. We know Benjamin B is the buyer who purchased the card, and he is he's on Instagram. He's a pretty private person. I think he's been on Instagram before, but on YouTube, but without his identity being shared. So he's a private guy, I guess. But we have the underbidder on that card. So Benjamin B won the card for $1.28 million. We have the underbidder coming on. Some of you have probably known him and heard of him. His name is Jason Coons, OTS Sports Cards. Jason, I see you down there, but I'm missing half your head. Can you get yourself centered in your frame, and I will bring you on the screen for me? If you can center yourself in your window, or I'll bring you on half head too. We can do that as well. Now he's frozen. Jason, I'm going to wait until you can. He's in here 3 times. Jason, I'm bringing you on. Can you center yourself so we can see your face? All right, there you are. There he is. He's lying down. He's comfortable. Jason Kuntz, welcome back to the show. How are you? I'm in a bidding coma. We can't hear him. We cannot hear you, Jason. Is there something wrong with your audio? Go ahead and say something. Cannot hear you. Cannot hear you. We can't hear you. I can hear some sounds there. Try to put something in your ears, maybe some try to talk again.
Give me 2 minutes.
Oh, now I hear you. Now I hear you.
You can hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
What's going on, guys? I'm in a bidding coma right now.
You've been buying. You have about 1.3 million extra dollars on account right now that you didn't buy the Celebrini last week. So glad to hear you're bidding. Listen, I want to bring you on because you came out and said that you were the underbidder on that Macklin Celebrini Gold Outburst. It sold for $1,281,000.
I was.
Can you? Why were you willing to spend so much money on that card? What is it about that card that you were willing to part with that kind of money for?
So I guess going without getting too deep into, running the algorithm of what I think where hockey is right now versus basketball, and what Cooper Flag 101 selling for $5 million. And there being several Cooper Flag cards, I think it was pretty clear that this was Celebrini's #1 card for sure. And other than Gretzky, I'm heavily invested in Gretzky O-Pee-Chee, and I didn't have a lot of exposure to hockey. And everybody I talk to is, and they're way more knowledgeable about hockey than I am. Every single person told me this is the guy. This is the next great, and obviously there's Crosby and there's Ovechkin, and McDavid, and everybody seemed to kind of have the same feeling that, this is going to be the next Wayne Gretzky. So just kind of dispersing money around and having more exposure to hockey. Now, I did get caught up in the bidding war, like everything else. Like it sat at 500,000, and I was really comfortable in that 500 to 600,000 range. I was actually like super excited that maybe this thing just falls, and then of course you get caught up in that bidding war, and then once you kind of go close to double where you want to be, it starts to become uncomfortable. But yeah, I hit the bid at like $1 million plus the juice, and then then it started at because obviously it's a long-term investment, and you start thinking, what is the true ROI? Is there going to be somebody that comes around and is willing to pay $2 million for this card in 5 years? Is there somebody, so it's like anything else. When you think you're getting a good deal, it's like, so yeah, there was a lot of different thought processes going through it, but even tonight in Heritage, I was a backup bidder on the 52 Mantle last night, 8. I thought I won that up until 1:30 in the morning, and got outbid. I thought that was an amazing card. So, and then yeah, tonight I don't know who. There's a lot of people with a lot of money right now, because there's some stuff. I won some really cool stuff tonight, but there is some other stuff that I just gave up on that I'm like, never in a million years did I think that I wouldn't have won it for the prices I bid. So we're definitely living in some wild times right now.
Yeah, we absolutely are. Are you getting feedback from me? No, I'm hearing it. Okay, I'm just gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's okay. I'm gonna mute Jason while I talk. Jason, I'm gonna just. You're good. Don't change anything, Jason. Okay, you mute yourself. That's fine. I'll mute you. I'll do it. Okay, so Jason, there's this one guy. I don't know if I've ever seen him in the chat before, but he's kind of making some comments towards you. I'm going to read them to you because I think this is it's an interesting response. So Tight Crusher, I don't think I've ever seen you before, but welcome to the show, says, these investor guys are the worst. He quotes, everyone told me, and he says that he knows nothing about the cards. He's talking about you, Jason. And so the reason why I'm even bringing these up, and I often wouldn't, because we do expect the guests on this show to be respected during the show. I don't care what you say about people afterwards and elsewhere, but during the show, we do insist that we're respecting people who we're bringing onto this show. With that out of the way, I know that Jason's been in the hobby for a very long time. You've been in the hobby as an operator for decades. So you're not new to the hobby, but you did just sort of admit that you're listening to what everyone was telling you about it, but you're also sophisticated. I believe you're sophisticated enough to be able to assess who's telling you, why they're telling you, what they're telling you. So, how do you respond to comments like this from somebody who says these investor guys are the worst and he knows nothing about the cards? Do you know about this card? What did you know? Or were you truly just going off of what people were telling you about Macklin Celebrini?
Well, first off, I'd like to say what's up, man, to the guy who said that, and great to meet you, and appreciate your comments. Hope you're having a better day. Jeremy, it's obviously, yeah, I've been around for 35 years. I'm numb to these comments. I'd like to think that I know what I'm doing at this point. How do you respond to it? It's there's a lot that goes into it. There's tax reasons for buying certain pieces too, I've sold other pieces and moving money around, and I'm familiar. When I say I'm not as familiar with hockey, I'm probably still more familiar with hockey than most. Just I would say when it comes to other sports, I would consider myself elite as far as knowledge goes. I do know, the young guns are obviously, extremely popular. Maybe, other than the cup, I don't know, obviously value wise, people are going to buy the cup, they're going to buy young guns. So I just looked at this as a grail type card. it's the same way. Like I'm not, I'm not a massive soccer fan, but like if a Messi Grail came available, I'm not gonna not make a move on it because of someone else's opinion of me, not being some super fan to that particular sport. Like that's kind of, other people's feelings about my collecting / investing. And it really is both. I mean, I would say that I'm, um, 80% collector, 70% collector, 30% investor. And I've actually talked about this in the past that I kind of break this hobby or business up into three types of people. And it's, person one who's strictly a collector, which I think is down to like maybe a few % of people that actually exist. And then there's the strictly business person, which they're out there, that's probably 10 to 20%. But I think the majority of people in this hobby / business now are all collectors / investors, and they're all collecting, but they're also investing and trying to flip to fund their passion. And I feel like that's the majority of the hobby. And it, like for people to frown upon any three of those is just silly. Like you just have to accept that that's going to kind of be what you're dealing with. So like, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, I'm numb to all three of them, but like, I think I fall into the category of collector / investor. And like, there's going to be some pieces, I bought, for example, tonight, like, I don't know if I'll ever sell it. I bought last night, a Ripken rookie jersey photo matched that also happened to be photo matched to his 82 traded card. And to me, that is just so sick because I grew up, chasing Ripken rookies and stuff. And like, that's, I don't know if I'll ever sell that piece. But saying that, I paid, I think the end bid was like $300,000. I'm telling you, I would never sell that piece. But if somebody came to me in a year and offered me $1.5 million, like, I'm going to sell that piece, even though I don't want to. So, like, does that make somebody a bad? It's just such a weird position for people to stand. I kind of went off on a tangent, but I mean, I don't know how to answer the guy's question. So,
it's okay, Jason. I appreciate you responding at all because you didn't come on here to get blasted, but. I thought that the question, even though the intention isn't favorable, was still interesting. And you can also exist and be in each of those sort of archetypes that you just described. I was explaining this to somebody just yesterday, and I said, I collect cards and I invest in cards, and I collect those cards that I'm investing in. I'm collecting them. I'm collecting investments in a way, but I'm also collecting cards that are not investments because I don't think I'll ever get my money back for them. And they're just fun cards to have. They don't also offer an investment opportunity. But if you're any Mickey Mantle card, any Babe Ruth card, any Ken Griffey Jr. card, these can all be seen as investments if you want to. And I think it just comes down to what your financial resources are and whether or not, if the money is significant to you, then why not consider it an investment? Why not try and get your money back out of it at the end of the day, and maybe even more? It's kind of a bonus that we have in the hobby that we can collect these things and also make money in the long run, possibly, depending on what you're buying. It's kind of, it's a bonus to me in the hobby. So collecting your investments is a way you're still collecting, but you're collecting awesome cards that cost significant money to you that you don't want to just see go to zero. I don't want any of my cards to go to zero. If all my cards went to zero, I'd be upset. I have no problem saying that. I would be upset if all my cards went to zero because I've got a lot of capital invested in them. So yeah, I hear you, Jason. But back to the Celebrini card, and I mean, purchasing or at least trying to purchase that card itself. I want to hear what you're like when you realize you did not win the card and you saw who did win the auction to buy the card. What was going through your mind in the moment? Were you disappointed that you didn't get it? Did you feel at all that maybe like you ran up the price? Like, was it just you two at the end? And I don't know if you can even know that, but did you feel at all like, maybe I ran up the price on this guy? Were you happy for him? Were you sad for you? What's going through your mind throughout that whole process?
Yeah, I figured out the next morning, obviously, who won it, and we chatted about it. We were both like, um, yeah, I mean, I think there was probably someone else in there, in the eight. I think if I was kind of watching the way the bidding went, I think maybe there was somebody else in there around 800. Um, like I said, I got to that point where like, and this isn't just this auction. This is almost every auction where I kind of set a max, and then you're having some cocktails, or you're just I'm sure you've been in this spot where you've set a max, and you've gone one or two bids higher in that moment. We all have. Um, so where did I really want to be? Like 800K, and then anytime you cross over 1 million on an item. So yeah, I mean, I was struggling. The last bid I hit was kind of like, all right, like I knew this was it, and then I actually kind of dozed off. I joke with him that I said if I didn't fall asleep, I was going to hit it again. But like, I was pretty much at like where I felt, I really wanted to be on that card. So, yeah, I'm super happy where it went. I mean, for me, it's good for hockey too. Like, I have a lot of Wayne Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookies. I think those are extremely undervalued. I think hockey in general. I think it's good for the sport. Like, having a card sell for $1 million plus is great exposure for not just hockey cards, but just the boom that we're in right now. And, that's where I'm at. I mean, yeah, it's on to the next card after this. It's like,
Absolutely. No, I hear you, Jason. Going to go to a couple comments. Well, Tight Crusher is on a roll here. He says it's a collector hobby, not an investor hobby. Well, you're just wrong, Tight Crusher. It's neither. It's neither and both. Tight Crusher says wrong mindset. No, I'd say you have the wrong mindset, Tight Crusher. Then he says the host is also an I'm an investor, bro, guys. Woo! I've earned my investor bro credentials from a jackass named Tight Crusher. I love it. I appreciate that, Tight Crusher. But obviously, Tight Crusher has never seen the show before, has no familiarity with me. It's amusing. This happens a lot. This is the danger of being somebody who puts himself out there like I do, like David does, and even like Jason does, and everyone else who comes on the show, is that somebody could come along and listen to you speak for about 3 minutes and feel like they've got you nailed. They know you. But like Chili Palmer said in Get Shorty, you don't know me. You only think you do, Mr. Tight Crusher. And then DM Film says, why do people care if another person is a collector or an investor? I personally don't care how another person does their hobby. That's what I say, DM Films, with one sort of caveat to that, which is just do it honestly and with integrity and do it nicely. That's I had the wrong. That's all I'm saying. But I'm with you, DM Films. Collect how you want. Who cares how people spend their money? Just do it in a good way. Is it? So, go ahead, David, please.
So, hi, I'm David. Nice to meet you.
Sorry, David.
I have a couple of questions, right? And by the way, none of this comes from judgments. I just have, I've never bought $1 million card before, so it's interesting to me to hear your perspective on things. And you mentioned, the 52 Mantle. You mentioned a lot of Gretzky rookies. You mentioned Messi. Well, Celebrini was, he's been in the league for like 2 years, right? And you said you've been collecting for a long time. Like over the last decade, have you bought many players who's only been around for a year or 2 or 3 and spent this kind of significant kind of money on those cards?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know how much. It's really nice to meet you, by the way. Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty big I have a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know how else to say. I mean, like, I do this. I love it, and like I've been around for a while. I take shots. I mean, like, I'll give you another one. I mean, this was not one exact card, but I mean, I've probably spent 400,000 or 500,000 on Malik Willis cards coming into the football season with just the sole, 100% gamble, knowing that my 500,000 or whatever I've invested is either going to go to 50,000 or whatever it goes to if he does well, and I'm okay with that. Like it's going to be fun. Um, so to me, yeah, I agree. Like him being in the like you said in the league for 2 years, completely aware that this was more of a gamble play than say, a Jackie Robinson rookie in a higher grade that is like a. I have plenty of those. I have plenty of S&P 500 index fund type cards that I tuck away, and I would say that my collection and everything is probably 80% slow and steady stuff that I think is safe. I think if the economy crashes tomorrow, I'm not worried about my Jackie Robinson 9 and Gretzky and Jordan. Like I don't care because I'm just going to hold them. So I guess if anybody new is listening, I wouldn't recommend if you had exactly $1 million to play with to go take a gamble like this. Because it is a gamble. Like, yeah, it is, so I was definitely aware that this was no home run. This was no lock. This was me wanting a little more exposure to hockey away from Gretzky. I feel like I had already kind of missed the boat on a couple of the other big names. And, that was really, yeah, that was kind of my mindset. I was just in that mood of like, I want to take a big shot in a hockey card. And the other thing would have been like if a Gretzky 10 came available. I have O-Pee-Chee wax, so it was just kind of where I was at.
Got it. No, I appreciate that because I didn't know that side of what your mindset is. So, like, is part of this the rush for you is to have these cards, and then you have like a forever player to root for, forever? Is that part of this rush? Is now, if you had that card, you'd be watching every Celebrini game, rooting for him? Is that part of the fun of getting a card like that early on in their career?
I think definitely that's that. I think as humans, I think we all want to be right. I think it's there's an exciting factor of making the right pick too, where people, there's probably plenty of people out there that think, the winner is an idiot for paying that much. So as much as the money matters in this situation or any situation when you make a purchase like this, everybody wants to be the person in 5 years from now, like that card sells for $10 million, to look back and be the person who made the right decision on a card like that. I've had plenty of and I showcase a lot of my misses too. But I've had some really big wins, and those are fun too. I like showing off some of my losses just to show that those are definitely those are likely outcomes in this business as well. But I think, yeah, I mean, it's almost like playing fantasy sports. You follow that. I mean, I'll tell you what, if I would have dumped $1 million, I would have been following a lot more closely, going to some, games. And so, yeah, everything you're saying is accurate with that. Yes.
Nice. David, thanks for the question. Jason, appreciate you getting into it. This tight crusher guy is just ripping. He's just lighting up. He says here, greed is a hell of a drug. Well, so is envy and jealousy and kind of hating yourself too, tight crusher. You seem like a person. I just want to wish you the best, but that's not going to be here anymore. So we're going to say goodbye to you permanently. I rarely ever ban people permanently. There's really no one I can think of that's permanently banned, but tight crusher is now going to be permanently banned from this channel. So tight crusher, you are gone. Yeah, we're not going to really miss you. Okay. Jason, thanks for popping on, buddy. Sort of for a few seconds here. Really just I'm going to mute you again. Really just wanted to get your thoughts on what you shared with us. And it's interesting to get in the brain of somebody who is operating at that level, buying and selling, investing, collecting cards in the seven-figure category is something that most of us watching, listening, and participating on the screen here don't do. So it's interesting. And that's why I wanted to get you on. And the other thing is that Benjamin B, he only goes on anonymously. Really cool. The guy who owned the Celebrini has been on anyone who wants to see who he was, because this guy just came into 1.3 million. You can catch him on the Hockey Cards Gong Show. Great friends of mine over there of the Hockey Cards Gong Show YouTube channel. Check them out and go watch those interviews they did with that guy. And but it's interesting to get the thoughts of the underbidder, Jason. Jason, next time you're the underbidder on a seven-figure card, let me know. Maybe we'll bring you back on and get your thoughts. So thanks for jumping on. Get back to bidding. Good luck with the auction tonight. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, the last one was last night on the Mantle. But yeah, I mean, the wife's in bed. If anybody has any other questions, I can hang out for a couple more minutes. Otherwise, I'll let you go amongst your show. But always happy to spend time with you, Jeremy. You're always a straight shooter, and it's always fun to do these super late night shows. So yeah, if there's any other questions, I'll answer them. Otherwise, you guys can move on to your next topic. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, no, I appreciate it. We're gonna move on. We got more people coming, so we're gonna get on with it. But thank you for joining, and we'll get you back on again later down the road, man. Thank you so much. Take care, Jason. All right. Thank you, Jason, for coming on. Again, it's not often that we know who the underbidder is on a $1.3 million hockey card. By the way, that was the third most expensive hockey card ever sold, only behind two Gretzky rookies. And the reason why I fumbled and said second is because that one sold for $1,281,000. The card in second place sold for $1,290,000, only $9,000 more. When you're at 1.3 million, it's not a lot. So, all right, we're going to bring Joe on. David, here comes Joe. Joe, you ready? Guys, please welcome the candidate for the next Hobby Prez election, Mr. Joe Perreault. Hello, Joe.
What's happening, fellas?
What's up, Joe Perreault? Jeremy, now if your electricity goes out, we have somebody to hold down the fort for us. So we're all good now.
Glad to see that. Absolutely. Joe, welcome back. Good to see you. Have you been watching, listening to any of this so far? If you have, what are your opening thoughts? And if you haven't, just let us know that too.
No, I was listening. I drove across town from a friend's birthday party. I thought David asked a really interesting question regarding, Kuntz's forays into more, contemporaneous players vis-a-vis the Celebrini. In second, third year, the hockey fans can let me know. And I think that's just a really interesting point of conversation and consideration, in so much as like, do we trade off? And I know, David, with your poker background, everything is like comparing options, right? And risk and reward, right? And so like the experience that of a player being current and potentially exploding even more. I think about Celebrini in the same way that I think a little bit about like an early Steph Curry, right? And of course his cards are more expensive than Steph's were in 2015 and all that. But I think that it's an interesting consideration of like the thrill of someone that's active versus more of the blue chip, or as Jason was saying, the S&P types of cards that are more blue chippy and not going to have any problems sustaining, the vagaries of the market. So I really like that question, David. And I thought Kuntz's answer was spot on. And I'd be curious what you guys think. I know, Jeremy, you're very reluctant to push into a player who is so early on in their career. And I know, at least if memory serves, I'm not sure you have put much into Celebrini or other players, Ant Edwards or, someone in that vein. So I just thought that was a great question, David.
Thank you.
And you're right, Joe. I don't push into the new players. I just don't have the risk appetite for it because of the prices involved. I get so much joy collecting other players, not the most modern rookies. The other reason why I don't love collecting any I collect a couple active players, well, I think, but the reason I don't love collecting active players is because they switch teams so often nowadays. They never used to switch teams as much as they do nowadays, at least in my memory. And so, especially listen, my favorite sports team right now is the Calgary Flames in the National Hockey League. And first of all, our team's terrible right now. So there's nobody to collect. And what am I going to collect? The one rookie, one or two rookies that we have. I'm going to spend, money on them that I could be putting into other cards I'd rather collect. And then only to see them either fizzle out on the ice or to see them get traded. Now I'm collecting some random dude on another team. I don't get, I love collecting Sidney Crosby. He's still playing, but he's 20 plus years into his career. You, Joe, are collecting Steph Curry. He's still active, but we're talking about guaranteed, first ballot Hall of Famers here. We're not talking about guys who are in their first 3 years of the NHL or the NBA or whatever league it is. And there's, anything can happen. It's just, it's not where it's not my lane. I'm not happy collecting the flavor of the month, the flavor of the season, the flavor of the product. So you're right, Joe. I don't do that. But as Jason said, he's got the capital to play with. He can do that. He can go lob a bit of $1 million on something. It's not going to change his life. I can't say that same thing. I'm going to lob a bit of $1 million. That changes my life substantially. So we're playing in different ends of the pool there, but it's fun hearing from him in that when it comes to that. So yeah, it's interesting, David.
Yeah, and I mean I agree with everything Jeremy said, but also it's the players that are around today. Maybe Shohei is the only one where his cards have just gone up and gone up and gone up. But I feel like almost every other modern player has had major dips during their career. And, Trout, right? Even ones that were unstoppable for many seasons in a row. And I just think that for me, I would rather let the dust settle, let them retire, and then go for those cards then. Maybe it might be a little bit higher, but and I think Shohei is maybe it goes against this rule because he just keeps going up as he's playing. So maybe I should have bought him 2 years ago when I thought he was overpriced, but who knows? Because almost every sporting athlete has a decrease near the end of their career or gets injured or has a bad season. And I just, I don't love playing the game where a lot of money in a card can decrease in value such significantly. And I just, I want them to be retired. But I do think what Jeremy said, Curry and LeBron James are on different levels because they could literally retire tomorrow and their career solidified.
Yeah.
Can I respond quickly to that and what you said, Jay Lee? Because I think you and Chase are sort of aligned in that regard. I guess the point I was kind of entertaining was, is there a value to being able to experience the risk of a player like that with the potential rewards? Is there an experiential cost almost factored in? And I think seasoned, experienced collectors who have seen how it usually goes would say that's not that great of an experience to see something start here in the just elevator shaft like a Zion or a Ja, or name any NFL quarterback prospect for the most part. But I think that is a draw in our hobby, and it's certainly something that the Flippers Vortex has capitalized on. So it's just an interesting question, and I liked that you brought that up with Kuntz, who is such an advanced collector, where he's ahead of that game in so much as he's already got, what did he say? A Jackie rookie 9? What is that? That's crazy card, crazy money. But so I think, because I feel that a little bit in myself, I do like being able to experience vicariously in, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, players having strong performances and feeling like I have a little bit in there, a little skin in the game, even though it usually burns me when I do.
Okay, so I agree with you, Joe. I think that it just depends on the amount that you're willing to risk. And I think of it this way, right? I think that if like an 80-year-old grandpa buys a $1 lottery ticket every Saturday, okay, and it brings him 15 minutes of like excitement, and then goes home and dreams about winning the lottery, and has like an hour of like being excited before he does it, and there's like 2 hours of enjoyment for that $1 ticket. Is that $1 so terribly spent, even though it's a complete gamble? No, right? So I do think that there is like ways where you can gamble for fun and just know that you're risking that full amount, and as long as it doesn't affect your life, go at it.
You know, talking about like the gambling, the risking, that kind of thing. It's fun when we think we're onto something that has not yet become a trend or more popular in the hobby, and it's almost a segue into a topic I wanted to talk about tonight, which was when you sort of trust yourself more than you trust the market, more than you trust. And when I say the market, I mean because the market is really setting the prices. So here's an example. I bought a card on the Fanatics weekly auction about a couple months ago now. Call it 8 or 9 weeks ago, maybe 10 weeks ago. And it's a card that I couldn't believe how cheap it was selling for. I think Joe, you're going to know this one because you liked it as well, without kind of knowing that I was bidding on it. I think you told me after, like, I didn't know that you were on that card too. But as I'm bidding on this card, and I ended up buying this card for $1,200. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what am I missing here? Why isn't this $3,000, even $6,000? Why am I going to win this card for like, why am I winning the auction here at $1,000 plus the buyer's premium for 12? I'm like, this just seems too cheap. So either I'm way ahead of the curve here, or I'm completely losing my mind and I'm way off and I'm just seeing something that isn't there. But I realized afterwards, because I bought the card, got it for $1,200. I'll tell you what it is in just a moment. And then I realized as I was out walking later that night, and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I think I don't trust the market. I do not trust, not that I don't like when I'm looking at comps and I'm looking at what cards are selling for. Now, of course, we know not all comps are real. Some of them are filled with all sorts of manipulation and shilling and that essence of shill. Some of them don't just have the essence, they stink to high heaven of shill. But putting all that aside, and by the way, Greg, no. Bystander, no. I don't think anyone has said it yet, which I'm surprised. It's not a Bonds card, and it wasn't the Randy Moss card either. But, sorry, where was I there? I'll just back up. Am I ahead of this, or am I completely missing it? Because I'm thinking to myself, this card should be worth a lot more. So then I'm like, I don't think that I trust how the market is currently evaluating this card. Considering so many things are so expensive, this should be more. So I bought it, and I kind of felt like I'm already, if I'm looking at the value, it's like, man, I would have spent $3,000 on this card. I'm already up $1,800. I got it for $1,200. I feel like I've gotten a free $1,800 worth of value. And then I started thinking to myself, man, why isn't this card worth $6,000? Like, it's that cool. Now I feel like I shouldn't even tell you guys, because if I do, now I'm pumping my card, right? I'm telling you what my card should be worth. So I'm actually apprehensive because we've had some bozos in the chat tonight who are going to now call me I've already been called an investor bro, which I'll take that. That doesn't hurt my feelings. But now I'm risking being called a pumper of a card that I just bought. So I don't even think I'm going to tell you what the card was, just out of my own self-defense. Exquisite Barry Sanders notable nameplates card. Because I'm like, how is this like, if this, now I know he's no Michael Jordan, but if that was a Michael Jordan card, well, that's $35,000, maybe more, maybe even more, right off a nameplate and all that. My point of all this is not about what the card is. My point of this whole topic is that I think sometimes we talk about comps, we look at comps, we wonder how someone could possibly ask more Meanwhile, here I am. The guy stole that card at 12.
Is he choppy?
Point
He's
is
a little choppy.
confident. If you feel confident in the cards you're buying, if you've been doing this for a long time, you may know more than the market does, because the market nowadays is so invested in comps that they're not everybody's willing to beat a comp. I was selling it the other day. I was set up at a card for sale. I was asking 350. The most recent comp I think the guy showed me was 250. He's like, I can match that. I'm like, I'm not gonna match it. You might match it. I'm not gonna match it. I don't care what the last comp card. There's only 10 of these things made. My price is 350. If you don't want to buy that, do you?
Jeremy,
David, you got me right now?
you're choppy. You're going in and out. So, Joe, this is when you take over.
Well,
I'm just going to fight through.
You got to do it. All right.
He's been fighting for a little bit, so maybe we should jump in, David. And I think, like, the moral of the story, for me, the moral of the story is I'd rather leverage my experience in the hobby, which indicates to me that, yeah, trust yourself, don't be beholden to comps, and play a little, have fun. If you see something that's new, David, I don't think you dabble in the new at all whatsoever, but new can also just be a slightly different category, right? It can be non-sports cards, or it can be a form of non-sports cards that you haven't introduced yourself to just yet, and all of a sudden it's a new pathway. So I think there's risk, obviously, everywhere, but I think more and more, and especially if you're not super leveraged already with your assets, you want to be smart. That's kind of the moral of the story. You want to make good decisions.
And I agree. And I think that it is fun to have a percentage of the cards that you're buying that are risky. Does that mean modern? Maybe, or in a lane that you feel like is untapped, which is the way that Jeremy, I think, was looking at it, right? Or a set, or a player, or things like that. That I know, Joe, you were talking to me today about a couple of players that you think are don't get the hobby love that they deserve. And I think that's just like a really fun way to kind of be able to buy cards that are a lot less expensive than their peers, especially when you feel like it just doesn't make sense, right? You try to put the puzzle together. You're like, the reasons for this to be cheaper are just not reasons that I agree with. And I love that way of thinking, right?
You with us, Jay Lee?
I don't know. Am I?
You sound good right now.
You're good.
I'm back for now. Okay. Thanks, guys. Just to sum up my point again, I think sometimes you just got to go with what you believe in, and hopefully you have enough experience that you're not completely flying blind, that you actually do have a reason for it. And maybe it's just your gut feel. So, the point, the topic that I'm trying to get out there here right now is, like, do you trust yourself to be able to pay what you think is fair, not what the market has told you? And do you have enough, or do you have any insight or confidence to be able to predict something that might come in the future, whether because you just want to be ahead of the curve for fun, whether because you want to be ahead of the curve to profit from it, maybe that's your motivation, or sometimes you just want to get in before the price goes up, which is what I've always tried to do. It's like, I think this stuff's going to get popular. I want to get in on it before the price goes up and I'm priced out. And I've had the confidence to pay what I've had to pay to get cards. And sometimes it's like, wow, I don't have to pay nearly as much as I think this card should be worth or could be worth in today's climate or environment. So again, that's just sort of the topic is, do you have that confidence? Are you totally beholden? Are you a prisoner to the last comp or the last series of comps? Or are you willing to kind of set the comp and say, listen, I believe in this card. I'm willing to spend the money on it. to prove my point, not just to prove a point, but because you want the card enough to buy it. So I don't know, just a very a poorly articulated topic on my part, but hopefully you guys have picked up what I'm trying to say. And do either of you have any response to that, Joe?
The other cool thing about it and why I love sports cards so much is we're not just talking about players, right? In the case of what you mentioned under your breath, which I'm not going to amplify, and yes, I was interested in that, Exquisite Barry Sanders, is that you're also talking about sets, right? Whether it's a 48 leaf, 49 leaf, with that kind of pedigree, or an exquisite, created by, our dear friend Carvin Chung, the architect, which when you start kind of calibrating player relevance with set relevance, that becomes a really kind of fun process as well, or process, as you would say.
Yeah. Let's bring Joshua Adams on the screen with us. Josh, here you come. Give me a thumbs up, buddy. He's good. Please welcome Josh. Hey, look at the discreet background, Josh. What's happening?
I'm in an undisclosed location, so I just I'm pounding coffee, showing my commitment to the show. How are you guys doing?
We're good, man. We're doing good. Well, hopefully my internet stays on now, but we're good, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for staying up on this late episode of Sports Cards Live. Will Deal Holyfield made a comment here about Jason not winning the Celebrini. He says the greatest thing that ever happened to this guy in investing was not winning that card. Time will tell. Time will tell. But I have to think that card sold for the most it ever will, at least for the next couple of decades, maybe. Yeah. Appreciate that comment right there. Greg at Midlife made a comment. This had me howling. He says, so much man candy on the screen right now. That was great, Greg. And Flint Hall with a good poke at himself says, tight crusher makes me look good. That was great, Flint Hall. You got me laughing. We got me laughing with that one. Yankees fan said, Jay Lee built a platform so we can see there are many variables in collector types. Yes, the hobby spectrum, absolutely. And Flint Hall also calls up my hockey team saying that the Calgary Flames will probably never win a cup. Bad ownership. Guys, he's not wrong about that. And then he says, though, that the Flames trading their best player ever, Jerome Iginla, was not good, except the problem was they traded him a year too late, so they should have traded him earlier. The trade was not very good at all. And then Jake here says, I had every Barry Sanders card in the 90s as it was happening. Get out of here, poser. This is my studio, Jake, so I'm not getting out of here, buddy. You're free to leave anytime you want, but we're going to stick around. We're going to stick around here for the duration of the show and every Saturday night when we can make it happen. So go ahead, Joe.
No, I mean, notwithstanding the fact that that's kind of a rude comment, I think it is picking up on something that emerged in the Kuntz interview, the brief Kuntz interview, which is like, do you need to be a fan of a player to invest in a player or collect a player? Like, can you suddenly decide, if David suddenly decided, actually, I live in LA, Shohei continues to amaze me and blow up, maybe I'll become a Shohei collector. I don't think that's going to happen. Most of us sort of feel like once we miss the boat, it's too late. But it's an interesting question. Like, I have a feeling I know what Josh Adams might say, but maybe I don't. What do you guys think? Do you need to actually like have a connection and a rooting interest, or find a player compelling deeply to feel like, hey, that's a card I might want to own?
Josh, you want to take that?
Yeah, of course. If you don't like the player, why buy the card? Like I don't collect players I don't like. So,
but can you don't collect players you don't like, but
right.
But are you saying, like, do you only collect players you do like?
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
See, I don't like. I collect players that I'm neutral on. Where like, well, I shouldn't necessarily. No, that's not so true. Actually, I don't think I collect. I think I only I've got probably 30 players that I would say I collect. Some of them I have 100 cards of, some of them I have 3 cards of, but I still consider that to be like, I want those 3 cards of that player. So, but I'm never like PCing a player I don't like. So I'm with you on that,
Right.
Josh, but I do have cards of players that I don't love, or that I'm just indifferent towards. And because I do have, there's a few lanes I'm in where their cards fit, and it's usually I'm not a set collector. I do have a couple sets that I still own and collect and are trying to finish. The last card I need is a guy named Jonas Hiller. He was a goalie for the Anaheim Ducks. I'm sure no one's even heard of this guy, and it's a card I need because it's the last one for a set. I'm going to buy that card when I can get it, but he's not a player that I particularly care about or was a fan of. So there are exceptions to that. Like, Josh, if you're putting together the 1935 Chickle set, do you love every player or like every player in that set? Or some of them you just like the cards more than the players, I'd say.
Right, for set collecting is different. Right. But yeah, for a set, I like every card in the set because I like the set. Like, I love the Nick Nikolai card because it's a cool looking short print. You know, I like the Newt Rockney card because it's, you know, it's part of this. It's part of football history. So yeah, I like every card.
Yeah, I like Lincecum's comment here says, you're not the number one fan of a player just because you buy his best card, which I think is really true. You're not, you just because someone goes out and buys all the best cards does not make them an expert in sports cards. If someone buys all the best Celebrini cards, and I don't know if the guy who has these is or isn't, so maybe this isn't about him. But just because you buy the best cards of any player does not make you an expert in that player. However, you might well be an expert in that player as well. David, what were you going to jump in with?
Just to kind of give the other side of this argument, I almost always have passion towards the player or the card, but I have bought a card that I had zero attachment to, which were these Messi rookies that I bought about a year and a half ago. I've never even watched Messi play. I felt like a poser, okay, trying to buy those cards. But I just, by knowing the hobby and being in depth with it, I just thought that those cards went down in value so much. I guess kind of like the gentleman that was just on the show, because I just really believed that the value of those cards were undervalued. So I did buy 3 or 4 cards that I thought I was just going to hold on to for 10 years, and I really had zero emotional attachment to it. So I haven't done that very often, but I did do that in that situation. I now own none of them because I ended up selling them all at the National. But so I guess there is a place to do that. It's just 99.9% of my collection I don't, but there's exceptions to every rule, including when I did it for that.
Anyone else have a thought, Joe?
Just real quick. I mean, like, so I'm a sports fan, and I can get excited about almost any player if they've done something. Like, for instance, Josh, I'm not a White Sox fan. I'm not a Frank Thomas fan necessarily, but if I saw like a, Star Rubies Extreme of Frank Thomas in a kind of like whatever 2000 version, I appreciate what Frank Thomas was to the 1990s baseball and sports card collecting. And I could get excited. I could find myself excited about a player that I hadn't thought of, like, I'm going to go out and collect Frank Thomas. But if an opportunity were to arise or a card were to appear, and I know enough about the sport and the history of collecting to kind of think, wow, there's some relevance here. And it's not just like because I think the card's going to go up. It's because I think it could be a really cool piece in just the general sports card world. So I don't need to actually love or have super duper passion about a player to feel like I could find a card that would be really interesting to own.
Yeah, like, listen, I don't have any attachment to Ty Cobb or Lou Gehrig or Honus Wagner or Hank Aaron or Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle, any of these guys. I got cards of, I think, everyone I just mentioned. It's about, I'm also like you guys, I'm a card collector. I collect, and like Josh said earlier, when you're a set collector, it's a different thing. Sometimes when you're just a card collector, it can be a different thing as well, because certain cards, although you're not building like a predefined checklist set, you've created your own, whether it's Hall of Famers or whatever it might be. whatever reason you've built a list of cards that you want to own, those are the cards you want to own because you want to own those cards. And sometimes I think we feel like we got to explain and justify why we collect certain things, but at the end of the day, we don't. As long as you're happy collecting what you collect yourself, you don't owe an explanation to anybody out there. None of us on the screen, no one in the chat, no one who's in other chats talking about anything. You don't owe anybody any apology for what or how you collect or what or how you like. I mean, but oftentimes we feel like we do owe apologies, and that's probably our own insecurities and our own issues that we carry on around ourselves because we somewhat do care what people think of us in many ways, and that's just the way life is. That's part of being human. So, but hopefully you don't care, and you can just go to bed at night and feel good about what you're doing. There was a question. Someone did ask, what Jonas Hiller card do I need? Asks more hockey cards, please. So I'll share it with you. It's from this set right here that I've been building for over 10 years, the 2013-14 National Treasures number patch set, the one and only year that Panini made National Treasures hockey cards. And it's a 97 card set, and I'm down to needing one. Each card is numbered to the player's jersey number, and I have every card in the set except for one of there's 3 1-of-1s. I've got the Roberto Luongo here, the Sergei Varlamov here. I'm missing the Jonas Hiller. That's the only one I need. So if anyone knows where it is, has it, can help me find it, please do. I would love to put this set to bed after what has now been, like I said, I've been doing this set since 2014. So we're 12 years in. 12 years in on that set, fellas. But in a way, I hope I never find it because it kind of keeps the candle sparked, kind of keeps the candle lit. So, all right, everybody. A couple more comments, or one more comment here. The real Mike Petty, Michael Petalicious says, I've watched Melamine Jamal play, and I don't care to buy one card of him. And yeah, that's a beauty thing, right? You don't have to. Even if you love a player, you don't have to want to buy their cards. Josh Adams.
Who is he talking about?
He's talking about, you haven't heard of Melamine Jamal? It's his funny play on words for Lamine Yamal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But also with Petty, his biggest asset of cards of his burrito or Honus Wagner, which he also hasn't ever seen play. Right?
That's just it. Petty is entitled to collect whoever he wants for whatever reason I'm almost like sick of this line of discussion where it's like, yeah, you all should know you don't have to defend who or why you collect. Because that guy, I think he was calling me a poser because I own a Barry Sanders card. I mean, I watched Barry Sanders play like that. You can call me a poser all you want, but you don't know me. You only think you do. Like in the words of the late great Chili Palmer. You like that, David? Huh? The movie. You guys saw Get Shorty, right? Everyone saw Get Shorty. Yeah, great movie, right?
Great movie. Yeah,
great movie. That's one of my favorite scenes as well. So, here's another sort of topic that I had, guys, which is interesting. It's not the same topic, but I could see some parallels being drawn. Basically, do you ever buy a card without knowing anything about it? Like nothing. And the reason this came up for me, I was going through preparing for my Fanatics live exclusive show, The Hunt, which was on Thursday. I was going through the weekly auction, and I came across a card I'd never seen before. Never even seen a card from this set before. It happened to be, I saw some mentions of Isaiah Thomas in the chat here a few minutes ago. It was an Isaiah Thomas card, some Topps super fractor with a big patch of a letter from his name on it. An autograph. It was a sticker, so I didn't end up buying it. A sticker auto and a picture of him on the bottom right corner. And I'm like, I've never seen this thing before. I don't know how many other players are on the checklist. I've seen super fractors before, but I never saw a retired basketball player super fractor with a huge patch, a sticker auto, and a picture of him. And I was like, I think I want to buy this card. No, I didn't, and then I realized it was a sticker auto, which I have a no sticker auto rule, so I didn't buy it. But it led me to think, like I was, relatively close to throwing a bid at this card, knowing nothing, not knowing if the price was reasonable, not knowing if there's 5 Isaiah Thomases in the set, not knowing if there's 1 or 10 of them. I knew nothing about it. So it doesn't matter what that card was anymore. The question I'm really asking is, have you ever done that? Either bought or tried to buy a card just because you thought it was awesome and you knew nothing else about it? And so I'll kind of go around Joe, I see you nodding a little bit. Do you want to start this one off?
Well, I'm frequently going into a card and then figuring out what I just purchased after the fact. So yes, the answer is an unqualified. Absolutely. I see a card. Of course, I try to do the research in the limited time I might have for an auction closing. But I don't always have that much time. And oftentimes I'm also looking at other cards at the same time. So I will try to take a peek at eBay. I'll try to take a peek at, Card Ladder, shout out Card Ladder, to see what I can make of sort of the history of the card, how often it sells, maybe look at the pop report. But more often than not, if I see it and I like it and I have a general sense of where it fits in the larger picture in terms of like brand pedigree, etc., I don't look back. I think about it after I put my bid in and let the chips fall as they may.
You think about it after you put your bid in, and then you win the card, and then you call me, or we get on the phone, and you're like, Jaylee, what did I just do? I don't know if and you do sort of second guess yourself at times on cards after you buy them. The funny thing though, Joe, is that as soon as I 9 times out of 10, I'm like, dude, I love this card. Like, I love the card you bought. I think you bought a sweet card. But so that's it. Listen, you do that. I'm sure other people do. You buy a card that you maybe didn't do enough research into to get totally comfortable, and then you can second guess yourself. And that's gonna. So let's add that let's go to you, David. Like, do you ever just do that? Buy a card that you don't know anything about, and if you do you second guess yourself after, or do you just move on?
I don't second guess myself after. It's been happening a lot more lately now that because I felt like the sports cards I was going after for so long were just cards that I've seen them so much and I know them and I've researched them. But now that I'm going down this new lane of non-sports, and for me to see Beatles cards and Elvis cards and Rolling Stone cards for like less than $100, and I look them up and the pop is like 47 and it's like a $50 card, I'm like, I don't care. I just like the photo. I like the card. I want it. I do a quick look up and I look it up. This also happened to me. I was at Front Row Card Show in LA the last time they were here. And there was like a Muhammad Ali card that I've never seen before. It was like a very cool looking card. It was messed up. It was in an SGC1. I looked up the card. It didn't sell since 2022. There was like 13 of them in the pop. And it was like $150. I have no idea how much that card is worth. But for $150, I'll buy something like that because it's cool and it's Muhammad Ali. And the last one at the National, never seen this card before, but there was that Marilyn Monroe card that was in the case. I saw the person who was there, who I loved, the dealer, Mark. I ended up asking him, like, what is this card? And he's like, oh, that's like Marilyn Monroe's considered her first card. I don't know if there's one before that, but most people consider this her first card. It was like $350. That's a lot of money. But at the same time, for me thinking, that's a lot of money for a Marilyn Monroe first card. I look at the pop, there's like 27. I'm like, I don't care. It hasn't sold for years. And it's one of those cards that that price seems reasonable for what that is. So comps don't really matter in certain circumstances like those.
Josh, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Yeah, I probably have. And I can't pinpoint one card specifically, but I'm sure I've bought stuff that look cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'll buy this. That's neat. So
good. Yeah, I hear it. Appreciate you guys coming in. Another topic, and even in our titles, the $1 million card explosion. Adam Gray, great friend of the channel, great friend of mine, has the Real 27 guy, has been tracking the $1 million sales this year and updating a graphic that he'll post up on Twitter or Instagram with a picture of all the $1 million cards. I think we had 1 or 2 last night. No, we actually had 4 last night. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna share this, and just because this is interesting stuff, and I know it's market talk, it's value talk, but there's just so much of this right now. So let me just hide that there and go to, okay. So here's Card Ladder. What I've done is I've actually gone into the setting or the filters, and I changed this filter to minimum price of basically $1 million. And I better just go here. And then I sorted it to date sold. So you can see August 21st, $4 million sales of cards. A Michael Jordan buyback autoed rookie card sells for $1.2 million on Heritage last night. The PSA 8 Mantle that Jason Kuntz said he was the underbidder on sold for $3.7 million last night. Hannes Wagner, SGC Authentic, kills it at $5.8 million last night. Joshua?
I think that's mostly due to the back. Piedmont, I think, hasn't sold in a long time. The last, I think, 5 that sold were Sweet Caps, but that's a Piedmont. And there are less Piedmont Wagners than any other back. It's really just Piedmont and Sweet Capital, but there are less Piedmont Wagners.
Thank you for the insight, Josh. Really interesting stuff right there. And finally, 33 Gaudy Babe Ruth, number 181, which none other than our good friend Joe Perot just added to his collection at the National. But this PSA 9 sells for $1,525,000. And if we just go back 5 days ago, we had the packs selling on REA, the brick of 8, 1952 unopened pack sell for $1.1 million. And then the day before that, we're talking a week ago today, was the Celebrini, $1.281 million. And then it's some of these pocket monsters here. And we're still in August alone, in sports cards, we'll ignore the TCG for now because I don't care about TCG. We have 1, 2, 3. I don't know, we won't count the box that Jordan signed. So we have actual cards. Wow. Just in August, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. $8 million sales. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big number. Josh, did you have your hand up again there? I'm sorry.
I did. I think the biggest story is a red PMG Jordan going for over $1 million. It's the first time. Also, hi to Dan's Vintage in the room. Hello. And Chad. But yeah, and I think like a week ago, that red PMG and an 8 went for over $1 million, which is, I think it's crazy.
I haven't. Hold on. Where you said? Oh, there, Dan. Josh is right. There are only 3 Piedmonts, and not only is Josh right, but the title Heritage even put it in their title, which is right here. 1 of 3 Piedmont known. So that's an incredible call out there, Josh. I wasn't aware of that. That it's 1 of only 3. Obviously, Dan knew of that as well. So. Yeah, really, I don't know how interesting it is, but it's a sign of the market, Joe.
August isn't even over yet. I mean, how many more big closes do we have? It's wild. I mean, I think all of us are just sort of sitting here if someone's out there that's not kind of stunned and amazed by what's happened in the last year or 6 months, even 3 months, let me know, because I've been collecting for a long time, and I know we did the bubble thing, I know COVID, but everything was different then. This feels feels kind of amazing.
It does. It is kind of amazing, this whole hobby we're in. Brad's Vintage said, anyone who is excited about any card they have for any reason, I enjoy hearing about it. But Brad's one of the nicest guys in the hobby. So, I mean, you're kind of like, that doesn't surprise me. Will Deal Hollyfield says, it's just mind-blowing to me how much money is being spent on some of this stuff. Josh Allen had a sale north of $1 million. Is he better than Jim Kelly? Kelly never won a Super Bowl, but he went to 4. He went to 4 of them. I mean, Will Deal Hollyfield, I share your sentiment. Like, it is mind-blowing. Like, when we go back to this page here, and we're looking at the $1 million sales that have happened, I mean, just in the last couple of months. I mean, I'm blown away that a Macklin Celebrini sells for this much, but the guy who bought it has come out and said that he has the best Celebrini collection in the world. If he doesn't have this is the cornerstone. He needs the best card if he's going to have the best collection. So he paid more than he wanted to, but the guy didn't care. The money means he's got all the money he needs. So, but what surprised the Jordan here doesn't surprise me. The Frankenwagner does not surprise me. The Josh Allen, that's surprising. $1.7 million. What about a Shohei dual logo man for $11 million? Private sale, $11 million. Is that surprising? I don't know. How about the Pele Alifa Bolliger PSA 9 for $1.17 million, or the Jackie PSA 8? Well, that's the autograph one for $1.86 million. That doesn't shock me. The Pele only shocks me because you're getting such a small thumbnail sized card. But, that's just me being silly. So, I don't know. David, do any of these surprise you? Does the Josh Allen surprise you? I mean, much.
Yeah.
You're not a modern guy.
Yeah, the Josh Allen and the Celebrini. Those are the two that surprise me because they're active players. And I just think that I think that's a lot of money to invest in an active player. But to each is their own. If they want to, I'm not saying that it's like it's not something that I would, if I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't be buying those cards, but that doesn't mean that that's right. It's just not for me.
Yeah, fair. And then Mid-Atlantic here says, I love finding cards I know nothing about. Needle in a haystack. Give me an anti-commodity card any day of the week. My favorite national pickups were Converse basketball cards from the 1980s. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun discovering something new. I only discovered the 1935 gum ink Mickey Mouse set when what was I looking, David? Do you remember? What was I looking? Did it have to do with the Wills Mickey Mouse? I forget.
I think we were just looking at Mickey Mouse cards and you were trying to figure out the one that you wanted the most, right? I think that it was just like diving in deep at Mickey Mouse, and that was the one that resonated with you.
And I knew nothing about it. I probably walked by hundreds of them. I've been to like 18 nationals. I probably walked by hundreds of them, never even stopping, never even looking, no rubbernecking at all on those cards, just dust, no interest, dust I don't care about. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, I was receptive to them and they came across my field of vision at the right time. And now I'm sort of obsessed. It's fun discovering something new. Even at the West Coast Card Show, when I started getting into the memorabilia cards, I love the lane. And then there's another lane, the lane I got into just about a year ago this month, where the the Pacific Hockey patch cards from the early 2000s, where I remember when they came out, but I didn't care about them then. Now I do care about them and I enjoy them, and I knew nothing about them. And as I'm buying them, even now I'm still learning more. I'm a year in and I just went and got the checklist of them all recently so I could create my custom checklist. Point is that stumbling into something that you never were interested in before, never saw before, is so much fun. And this hobby continues to deliver more things that you can get into. Joe, were you going to jump in?
No, I was going to ask you a question about the Mickey Mouse. I mean, would you consider yourself like a Mouseketeer? Would you consider yourself a Mickey Mouse fan?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up on Mickey Mouse as much as I grew up watching baseball and hockey, but what kid is, but am I a Sesame Street fan? Not really. I think but I would own Sesame Street cards if there were awesome cards out there. Maybe there are. Maybe I got to start looking at Sesame Street cards.
Oscar the Grouch rookie card. 1 second.
Let's find. We're going to go on that deep dive.
Big Bird. No, I mean, my point though, Jay Lee, is I obviously, Disney and Mickey Mouse are there's levels to this, right? And so in the land of make-believe cartoon characters, there's an argument that those two names are the origin of everything. That said, I like Bugs Bunny because I saw more Bugs Bunny cartoons. They weren't really playing Mickey Mouse cartoons when I was a kid. So I'd see them, from time to time, just, and, I made a trip to Disneyland when I was a child. And so that impressed me, but it wasn't as if I was passionate about Mickey Mouse. I know some people that are to this day. They're not even card collectors, but they're passionate about, they have like Lululemon bags with Mickey Mouse on them. But I guess my point, I'm getting back to that same question is like, what level of direct connection or passion do you need to have, or do you need to have any to collect something and feel like you're, a collector and or allowed to enjoy bringing in a card into your collection that's maybe something that you're not a poser in relation to?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to that, like, because what's a good example? Like, I don't know. I loved watching Shaq play. I collect Shaq cards. I loved watching Griffey play. I collect Griffey cards. I also loved watching Joe Carter and Roberto Alomar and Fred McGriff and John Olerud. Fred McGriff. I meant Devon White. I loved Pat Borders. I loved Kelly Gruber. I loved watching these guys play. I don't collect their cards. So it's interesting. I'm not exactly sure how to answer that, but I do know that I think we've all said. I know David and Josh certainly said maybe before you, at some point anyway. I love cards, and so loving cards to me almost supersedes in many cases. Like that to me is the reason in a lot of cases. Now I don't collect Chickaboo or Picazard because I never grew up on these guys. I have no idea what they do, who they are. I don't collect these guys. I know Mickey Mouse. If I grew up on it and I have nostalgia for it, I'm willing to, in many cases, buy a card to represent that era. Yeah.
I have no idea who Horace the Horse is. Like I keep seeing, like I've been looking at the 35s quite a bit, and like that image of Horace the Horse, I never saw that growing up. That said, I can be intellectual about it and recognize that the brand of Disney and Mickey Mouse being the preeminent character in the Disney portfolio or suite is massively significant. And that can attract me, right? Not like Mickey Mouse intrinsically, but like the magnitude of impact on culture.
Yeah. I love historical figures as an example. And as we're talking, Joe, I was looking at this card here. I own this card here. This is the 36 Mitchell and Son Walt Disney. And then I said, well, when did I buy this card? And I went and I just searched my old email receipts. I was invoiced for this on March 5th, 2021. So I bought this card over what's that, 5.5 years ago, basically. By the way, I paid $203.50 for that card, which I think now is good. It's a PSA 7.5. I think that's probably a pretty good grade. David, you know better than me. I haven't kept up with the values of this card. I think a 7.5 would that be high grade, mid grade for that?
That's a high grade. That's high grade for that card. Yeah.
Bought it for $203. I'm guessing this is worth more than, I don't even know. I could go check comps. My point is that, like, I was looking, Joe, at I have a lane, I call it. I have a folder in my, so the top folder, it's called miscellaneous and non-sport. There's 4 subfolders in there, and I'll read them to you. One is card art, basically like custom cards that I bought or people have gifted me along the way. The second one is custom cards, me and my family. I've got custom cards I've had made, where I've made them of myself or got them made at the Upper Deck booth at the National, that kind of thing. The third one is called miscellaneous sports, and that's got boxing, wrestling, golf, and billiards. So I only have 6 cards there. But the fourth one is called historic. It's called historical, meaning historical figures, Hollywood, music, miscellaneous, and I even have TCG there, even though I don't own a single TCG card. But like I have a Charlie Chaplin card in here. I never once saw him live. I don't have any nostalgic connection to him other than growing up knowing about Charlie Chaplin. And I love owning a Charlie Chaplin card. It's like the Three Stooges, probably among the most popular vintage non-sports cards. I watched them, That's not a good example because I'm old enough to have actually watched the Three Stooges. So it's not a great example. And I maybe don't have a great example because, some of my favorites are
Marilyn Monroe.
Really,
How about
and
Marilyn
my
Monroe?
John Travolta cards. Like I loved watching those guys in movies. So sorry, David, what was that?
Don't you have a Marilyn Monroe card?
I have Marilyn Monroe. Yes, I do.
Doesn't
I
that
do.
represent what you're saying? Yeah.
Sort of, I guess. It's just that, collecting historical figures, like collecting people who collect presidents. Do you really have nostalgia for the presidents from the 1800s, or are you building a collection of awesome historical figures? Like, it's just there's so many lanes and all that. So I don't even know how we got down this route. Yes, David.
And just, I mean, man, I'm always I don't even want to talk about Mickey Mouse because it sounds so pumpy, and I get it that it does. But there's so many layers to Mickey Mouse where, Joe, you said like you didn't really watch very many Mickey Mouse cartoons as a kid, right? But I bet you saw the Disney movies. I bet you watched Alice in Wonderland and Pinocchio. And before every one of those movies has the Disney with the castle, right? With literally every single movie. And that probably brings a little bit of nostalgia in your childhood. I don't know any kid that did not like any kind of Disney movie growing up. And that feeling that you did get when you did go to Disney, one of the Disney theme parks for your first time, that's memories. That is the reason why when I went to that D23 Disney convention, they're all adults because they're still reminiscing that time when they were, I probably said that word wrong, but that time when when they were 7 years old and they went with their parents to Disneyland. And it was like the greatest day of their lives. And that's what Mickey represents. It's not just the cartoon. It's the memories from every Disney movie, from the theme parks, from you having a stuffed animal of Goofy growing up, right? There's so many layers to Mickey Mouse that's on top of every other cultural fictional character, in my opinion.
And Joe, I think you were really just you're probing. It's not And these are, I think, just answers to the probe more than anything. But and Josh, what do you think about like historical figures and non-athletes? And do you collect any of that stuff? Do you think it's cool? Where do you fall? And then Joe, we'll get you to wrap up all of it.
I don't collect any of that stuff.
Thank you, Joshua Adams. Appreciate it. Joe, let's go back to you, buddy.
No, it's just I'm asking the question that I ask myself out loud to everybody because I've been on the fence, as you guys know, of like, hey, should I push into this? Should I push into that? Superman, Batman, Mickey Mouse, going over to, the side of the Beatles or, Bob Dylan. And some of them I do, and some of them I don't. And sometimes that just depends on like the opportunity that presents itself. But it's always a little unclear in my mind because where would I draw the line? Would I draw the line at, I'm gonna collect just musicians. Oh, well, wait, then there's these movie stars. Oh, wait, then there's these non-fictional characters. There's the modern tropes, the more, vintage tropes. Like it just keeps, historical figures, Thomas Edison, pirates, living pirates that have sort of a fictionalized, romanticized, kind of story behind them, like a Blackbeard, but also were living, breathing, villains. So I asked this question partly just to sort of think about it myself and kind of hear what you guys think. How much of it needs to be like a direct heart kind of connection, we might say, and how much of it is more thinking analytically about what's truly important. Like a character that comes to my mind, it's like Bob Marley. Like how often do you hear Bob Marley playing in people's cars and around the way? And it's like I've seen his cards. I never bought a Bob Marley card, but maybe I will someday. I have a feeling they're probably a little higher than they were a year ago.
Well, thanks, Joe. We're now all priced out of Bob Marley cards.
Yeah. I don't have any, but
I don't either. I don't have one, but I'd love to add a Bob Marley card too. I mean, grew up listening to Bob Marley. I don't have a Led Zeppelin card. I'd love to have a Led Zeppelin card. There's so many. But you're right, Joe. It just goes on and on and on. And there's some like non-sports cards that I've been just going down these rabbit holes lately, and just the art and the it's crazy. It's crazy how deep you can go.
I mean, we talk about drawing lines like no sticker autograph or, no non-playing days. Do we need to draw some boundaries for, non-sports cards and or like just in general, like at a certain point, it might be kinder to ourselves, because I get like vertigo going when I think about all the possibilities. And that's a little bit what I've been wrestling with lately, with FOMO up and so many opportunities. I haven't bought any non-sports cards recently, but I might. And I ask myself, would I enjoy the hobby more if I draw a few firm lines? Like David, you really don't do modern or, much less ultra modern. I mean, occasionally here and there, maybe. And that's probably helpful because it minimizes the intellectual task of evaluating what cards you want to go after. If it's just a completely wide open field, it's mentally exhausting at some point.
David?
Yeah. I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from in that, but at the same time, I don't draw a line, like I am not saying I will not ever buy a modern card, and it's just, they don't resonate with me. Right. That's the only reason why I'm not into modern cards. These vintage, and if these vintage cards, like for you, aren't resonating with you, then definitely don't go for it because of FOMO. Right. It has to like come from a place where it's exciting for you, not stressful for you. Right. Where it's like for me, it's fun to go down the rabbit hole and the vortex of trying to figure out a cartoon character or a TV show or a movie or a rock band, right? That I want to like explore their cards of. That's fun for me. But if it's becoming overwhelming, then, I don't know if you need to make a rule, but just, you're definitely more passionate about some things more than others, Joe, right? I know like you have a band that is probably your favorite band or your top 3 bands of all time. It's a lot easier if you did want to go down that rabbit hole to go for like one of those bands than to just be thinking of the top 100 bands of all time, which might be overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Totally. Josh, want to chime in? Or
Josh?
About what?
I don't know.
Who's your favorite band, Josh?
I like Bob Dylan. I like Pink Floyd, and Grateful Dead's pretty good. You ever hear Joe Russo's Almost Dead? They're very good. They're very good. So my friend turned me on to them. But yeah,
what about Josh? What about REM?
Not the biggest fan.
Are you okay? Not the biggest fan of REM? Oh, Ron like Fish. Fish. You're a Fish fan, right, Josh?
I like Fish. I've seen him play a few times. Yeah.
I've never been to a Fish show. People, never got to a Fish show.
I've been to many.
You know what the Fish fan said as soon as the drugs wore off? Wow, this music stinks. I'm just kidding. All right.
So, Joe, were you going to jump in?
Can I ask Josh one more question?
Yeah.
Josh, how do you like Willie Nelson?
I love Willie Nelson.
And Josh, if you ever saw a very cool Bob Dylan card, would you ever venture into that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
So when I was talking about rabbit holes, here's a card that I bid on. So I'm going to show you guys the card. It's on Fanatics. It ends tomorrow. I'm going to show it to you. So I'm now probably not going to be able to buy it. But this is a card that I knew nothing about. The price on Fanatics, when I put in my bid, I think it was like $8. And I put in a bid of $100 because I'm just like, I'm going to be on vacation tomorrow. I'm going to buy it. If I win it, I win it. I'm willing to pay up to $100. Did not check comps. Didn't check anything. I know nothing about this card except it's freaking beautiful. I love it. And I don't even know much about the character that is portrayed. And this is a fictional character. Not even David knows what card I'm about to show you guys. Yeah. So let me show you this card. I've now, and the best part is I've been up in. What I did know is it's a pop 1 in the grade, none graded higher. But before I show you that card, I'm going to show you, I'll show you it first. Here it is. 1933, John Player and Sons, Don Quixote. characters from fiction in a PSA 9. And just look at how awesome this card looks. Look at Don Quixote, players' cigarettes across the top. And look at the beautiful, majestic horse, the landscape, the sunlit sky, the sand. I fell in love with it, and I never saw this until whatever it was, last night or the night before. Never even seen this card before, but I bid $100. I don't know if the comps are $25. I bid $100, and wouldn't you know it? I've been outbid. I've been outbid already. Someone else probably. I don't even know how many bids there were. 14. I can't see I can't tell like how many it took for that person to catch me, but they are at 105 now. This is an example of that topic. Buying something you know nothing about, trusting myself, even though, but it's only $100 for me. I'm willing to gamble $100. What's the gamble? The worst case scenario is that I love the card and it's worth $0. For $100, I'll take that chance. The best case scenario is I love the card and it's worth more than $100. Josh, what were you going to jump in with there?
Are they selling the windmill card there too, or is it just the Don Quixote?
Is there another card from the set called the windmill card?
You don't get yes, never mind. You don't get the
I
joke.
I don't know much about Don Quixote, but I did look at the back of the card. I did look at the back of the card, and it's in English, and I did read it, so I know a bit more about him after I read the back of the card, but I still don't know a lot about Don Quixote. I know that I've heard of him. I think there's tequila named after him. Like I kind of, but my point is that I have no nostalgia for Don Quixote, but I love this card. That's it. David, what do you think? I mean, oh wait, someone else had their hand up. Oh, go, David, what do you think?
I mean, you should have told me. I bet 125 on that card, Jeremy. No, I think it's a cool card. I mean, I do these kind of things all the time. I was thinking of another card that you ended up doing this with, which is your that oversized card you won at that CIA auction, that baseball card that you've never seen before until you actually saw it, and you bid on that card and won it too, right? Very similar situation.
I bid on that card because it was beautiful. And it's also from 1882, which I thought was just cool in and of itself. And just in that collector investor auctions, they had like several cards from that set. And the batsman was the one that I won, was kind of, I realized was the best card, if you will. It wasn't the first baseman, the second baseman, the left fielder, the right fielder, the catcher. It was the batsman. And to me, that was special. So yeah, I knew nothing about it and I bought it. I didn't pay a lot for it. And I was definitely happy with that. Brad's Vintage asked, Jay Lee, if you win, do you read the novel? Honestly, Brad, probably not. I don't think I'm going to read the novel, but I would read the Wikipedia on him. I would learn about him, but I don't think it would be through. I would read I'd read the cliff notes on it, sort of thing. I just want to show you before we leave from here. I want to show you here's that Isaiah Thomas card that I was talking about earlier, that I did bid on, I guess. But I've never seen this before as far as a super fractored 2007 Topps Letterman Isaiah Thomas. I don't even know if it's called a super fractor, but it sure looks like one with the background there. And I mean, I look at this, I feel like I've never seen one before. But that's another one that I did bid on, I think, and then I realized, then I zoomed on, wait a second, that's a sticker. Hopefully I don't win it, and I guess I'm not winning it now. So, but that's still a pretty cool, damn cool card for what it is. It's got a lot going on, including the one of one, print run. So, Josh is the man. Absolutely, he is. The Merchant of Cool says that Josh's disdain for the joy others take in collecting non-sports cards is lame. I didn't even read this before, Josh. I'll continue. Dude sucks. Go ahead and ban me. His attitude sucks. Josh, I swear I didn't read that until I started reading it. Would you like to respond to that at all?
So yeah, I mean, I have no disdain for people for what they collect. What you like, I'm not going to criticize you for what you like. It's not for me. Like David said, people like it. Go ahead, do what you like. It's supposed to be fun. It's not for me. I have no disdain. But
I didn't think you did. Josh. I wanted to give you the chance to address that.
I am lame though, so he is right on. He's betting 500, so it's okay.
I am lame though. And situational says in quotes, "Go ahead and ban me." Is that like announcing you're leaving a Facebook group? No, but it means that you don't. It does. It might mean that you just don't. You don't care about being a part of the Saturday nights here on Sports, and that's fine too. That's fine too. Will, he says that's the dude you banned earlier. He created a new account. Maybe. Who knows? What? Any other topics on anybody's mind? I mean, Joe, I think you were. Did you want to jump in with something from a few minutes ago? I don't want to forget.
No, I'm enjoying our sort of, maybe kind of like just discussion around what we're sort of this is exaggerating the conversation, and I think we all know that this is a ridiculous statement that I'm about to say, but what we're allowed to collect, and maybe this is maybe we've beaten this around above and beyond the need. I mean, I don't think this is the only moment that we've talked about this. I've heard other people talking about it, but I do find it interesting, not so much from like a external community conversation, but an internal conversation. Like, what is it that makes you kind of compelled to go after something, and what's the, is it impulse? Is it research and analysis? And I think every collector is different, right? There's going to be some combination, your own personal experiences. Like for instance, my dad was a huge boxing fan. And when I was growing up, Muhammad Ali, like if there was an Ali fight in the 70s, my dad was going to be watching it. That's back when you didn't have to do pay-per-view. It was on ABC, Howard Cosell. And I would watch boxing matches with my dad. And for that reason, even though I'm not a boxing fan per se, just like Muhammad Ali is like a deep, like, and I think I have one Ali card, but I probably should get some more Ali cards because, as David Chase said, it would feel really good to bring those into my collection because there's some deep connections to my own personal world with, watching boxing matches, with my dad, George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. But then there's other things that I do buy and I don't actually have a direct connection, but I just think they're cool because I have an awareness of pop culture. So just thinking about that out loud.
Yeah. Lots there. David, do you have any thoughts?
No. I'm like Josh.
That was your Josh imitation. That was you. No.
I love that we all have nostalgia with different parts of the hobby, right? And we resonate with some things, and you go down different lanes based on that, right? Like with you just saying that, Joe, how many Muhammad Ali cards do you have in your collection?
I might have one. I don't even know if I have one. I've been keeping my eyes on them, but as we know, they're not exactly cheap, like significant ones.
You say that, but you also just bought a 33 Gowdy Ruth and a Ty Cobb, right? Like, when you're saying that they're expensive, they're not that expensive, even for his most expensive card. So is that something that would go higher up on your list of needs, or is it still tamed because you have so many cards that are above that?
I think I still have, and maybe this is me, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do still kind of adhere to like the idea that I'm mostly entirely a baseball and basketball card collector. I collect a little football, but those are the two sports. And so like anything outside of that, I dabble, but I don't necessarily identify myself as like, I got an Erling Haaland card recently because I enjoyed watching him in the World Cup. I'm not a soccer card collector. I had an experience enjoying Erling Haaland. So am I a boxing card collector, or am I a Muhammad Ali collector? Am I a GOAT collector? Muhammad Ali is definitely a GOAT. But I think I try to maybe reconcile the fact that I can't have it all by identifying myself as having a few different areas that I'm not entirely beholden to it. It's not an absolute, but I mostly, if I'm collecting vintage, I'm probably mostly collecting vintage baseball. I'm probably mostly at this point actually collecting pre-war vintage baseball. So
because you're also a big basketball fan, there's very little vintage basketball even on the menu. You're not a hockey fan, so that wouldn't fit your for you anyway. And football, I mean, there is some, but not a lot. Like baseball just has the deepest library and assortment of offerings. So that makes sense to me. And the fact that your dad was a Muhammad Ali fan, like that, I could see you one day buying one. Problem is they've gotten expensive, and you have higher priorities for yourself, I think. But I do appreciate you sharing that story and that insight into who Joe Perot is. Josh Adams.
Well, I collect stuff that I have a nostalgic kind of connection to, right? So like I collect White Sox stuff, Blackhawk stuff, Frank Thomas, Michael Jordan. And I collect also, vintage football and baseball because I like the history of the sports. There's a lot of pre-NFL football things to collect, like photos, matchbooks, postcards. There's a ton of things. So yeah, that's what I gravitate towards, stuff that I have like a nostalgic connection to or some sort of historical connection. Because I do like history and research and old black and white photos. So yeah, it does it for me.
Yeah. Again, collect whatever you want. Talk about whatever you want. Will Deal here says, keep talking Mickey up and Mr. Wonderful will be walking around with one hanging from his neck. I don't know if Mr. Wonderful has caught on to Sports Cards Live yet. If he hasn't, he's obviously missing out. Lincecum Showcase says, I can't stand the non-sports push into sports card channels. I hear you, Tim Lincecum Showcase. That's got to be, that is tough. The one thing I do, I'll just share with you, is that when I subscribe to lots of YouTube channels as a consumer of hobby content, and it's the easiest thing in the world to do is when I'm listening to a video or I'm watching a video and they start talking about anything I'm not interested in, I either skip ahead or I just turn it off. Like, it's so easy. So all I'm saying to Tim Lincecum fan is try not to be anywhere you don't want to be. Like, it's really easy to just go somewhere else. One of the problems might be though that, content itself, I feel is there's a lot of just rehashed content out there lately. And I'm finding it harder and harder to find content that I really want to watch. I've got my favorites. I've had my favorites for a long time, and I watch my share of content. I find I'm actually enjoying a lot of audio podcasts. I've been doing that for a couple of years now, but if I'm listening to a podcast that I really enjoy and they start talking about a topic I'm not interested in, I just skip the rest of that episode and wait till the next one comes out. It's super, like, I just recognize just that's probably a good way to save yourself some time so you don't get frustrated as well. Chrissy says, yep, just turn it off. It's really that simple, I would say. Philip Pelly, what's going on? Says, hello, Jeremy Lee, Joshua Adams, Joe Perot, and David Chase. Enjoying the show. Thank you, Jeremy Filippelli. Always a pleasure to see your friendly face in our chat. But we are coming up to the end here, guys. We are going to wrap up. This is usually when we wrap up. We did miss the first hour tonight because I wasn't able to start on time. But I'm willing, listen, is there anything else anybody does want to talk about before we end this episode? Josh, is there anything on your mind? Anything you'd like to let the people know? Josh there's a partner in owning 90s auctions. Josh, why don't you let people know about the upcoming auction and when the preview goes live?
Preview is live right now. I was working on it all week. We put it up about an hour ago. 90sauctions.com. It's up there on this banner. Auction starts a week from Monday, August 31st, and September 12th, whatever that Sunday is.
90sauctions.com. 90sauctions.com. Yep. Go check that out. Please help support our good buddy Joshua Adams. He's building himself a nice sort of niche auction house focusing on cards from the 90s and players who played in the 90s. Any change to that, Josh, or is that still the play right now for you guys?
That's it. That's the lane we're going in. We might expand it later, but we're getting some good traction on that. So it'll be fun. This is a pretty good one. Worked really hard on it with my partner, John. So it'll be a good time.
Nice. And you can follow the same account on Instagram, as well as following Josh at Midwest Vintage Cards on Instagram. You can also follow 90s Auctions on Instagram. Joe Perot, how about you? Any sort of final thoughts, comments, questions, anything?
Yeah, not really. Just, enjoyed always being on the show. And, David did a nice collab with Greg the other day. The NBA sticker analysis was like, I learned a lot. You got into like the real depth around a subject that I think is very confusing. And David, I just want to sort of acknowledge, I think Mike Baker should probably hire you as a sort of decoder of like what's actually, you would be helpful to their dissemination of information, because you actually understand it. And I think, 90% of us don't really understand it. So great job on that collab. And I'm glad you're on our team, because you bring a lot of expertise there. Jay Lee, super looking forward to the premiere in a couple weeks, I think. Next Thursday. So like coming right up. We got the Sunday, of course, and the hunt. I got to go catch up with that. I'm a little behind on my content diet, but looking forward to seeing what the premiere brings, because you and Adam always knock it out of the park. And that's one of the most exciting nights of the month for me in the sports card world.
Appreciate it, Joe. I'll just let you know, and everybody else, if you weren't here at the top of the show, there will not be a weekly show tomorrow or a hunt on Thursday. I am actually heading out on vacation tomorrow morning. I will be driving back home to do the premiere show on Thursday night with Adam. But this week I'm taking off everything else to have some vacation with the family. But I appreciate those comments, Joe, but I will not be there. There's no show tomorrow night, buddy. For everybody who does enjoy those, I do apologize that I'm just taking some time with the family. But I'll be back on Thursday. Now, before we go to David, there is a question that came that I'm just going to go through a couple of quick comments, David, and everybody. Brad, hold on, where did it go? Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm not going to do it. Anyway, Brad, good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging. Always appreciate your time. Thank you, Brad Vintage. We appreciate it. Situational says, great episode pulled together. Thank you, Situational. Oh, there's the question. It comes from Chris C. He says, Jeremy, do you think hockey is still undervalued? No, I don't know. Some cards, yes. Some cards, no. I think the sport of hockey is widely misunderstood by people south of the 49th parallel, I think we call it, and just not enjoyed to its potential. It's an amazing sport to be a fan of, to watch. It's super exciting. I could compare it to other sports and try and say it's faster. It requires more skill. There's more action, all these different things. I'm not going to say those things, at least not directly. But I think that the sport needs to get more popular in the U.S. before the hockey cards can become more popular. Although sometimes you just have to be cards to be popular, and you don't have to be the sports that people love. So who knows? Maybe that'll change. But I think there's still room for it to grow. I don't know. David, what do you think?
About that, which is interesting. Actually, Jeremy and I had a conversation literally last night about this, how we were kind of surprised that during this boom that we're seeing right now in cards, the Gretzky rookie in medium low grades has not really increased in value much over the last couple of years, which is very similar. But you can't just say that's a hockey thing, because it's also been the same with like the Wilt Chamberlain rookie and the Bill Russell rookie, right? So like these sports that are not vintage baseball, right? Vintage basketball, vintage football, and some hockey just hasn't increased. Does that mean that they're undervalued? I don't know. You tell us. But at the same time, they obviously have not increased during this frenzy that we're experiencing right now.
Their time might not have come yet, because you could have asked the question 6 months ago. Hey, do you think Disney cards are underpriced, or Marvel cards, or Superman cards? Do you think any of these are undervalued? Still undervalued? And we would have answered the exact same way. It's like, well, it feels like they have potential. And I think hockey has potential. I'm trying not to say undervalued, overvalued, underappreciated, overappreciated. It is what it is in the moment. But I think the way I'm now starting to really frame it for me when I do express my thoughts is using that term potential. I think there's potential for it to become more popular. And if that drives up demand, well, guess what? The prices might move as well if we're talking about potential to go up in value. So, but thanks for the question, Chris C. Thank you again, Chris. Thank you, Yankees fan, Tony, Brad's Vintage, David. Really quick in your mind, what is the difference between an NBA 7 with a sticker and a PSA 7.5?
I'm going to ask that question in a different way, which I think is even a better question, because a PSA 7.5 is much better than an NBA 7. But I think what you're getting at is, how about if it is a PSA 7 with a sticker versus like an NBA 7.5, right? Kind of the opposite of what you're saying, because PSA is worth more than an NBA in today's world. So I think that most people would rather have the PSA with a sticker than an NBA with a higher grade. To answer your question.
Like all else being equal, like the cards should be the same, right? An NBA 7 with a sticker should present like a PSA 7.5. The problem is there's so much variation in what that means. Like if the centering is off on both of them, like all else needs to be equal. Situational, thank you so much. And he's wishing you, Joe, good luck with the upcoming school year. Our teachers and admins, other teachers and admins as well. Very nice, Situational. Thank you, Brad's Vintage. Thank you, Yankees. Thank you, Situational. Thank you, Michael Rader. And Tony, Yankees fan, thank you so much. Says, always great hosts, topics, and the best live board. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Guys, David, Joe, Josh, thank you. Chat, thank you. You guys can listen to these. This show will be chopped up into 5 podcasts. Probably you can listen to that on Spotify, Apple, wherever you do listen to your podcasts. And again, I'll be back on Thursday for the premiere show here and on Fanatics Live Collect Originals with Adam Gray. And we'll be back Saturday, again, next Saturday for Sports Cards Live. Oh, there's Double O's Jesse. What's up, buddy? Thank you, Chris C. Thank you, Steve from Fresh Prince of Sports Cards. Thank you, Brian, 90740. It's like Brian Austin Green from 90210. Very similar. Yeah, you're the only reason why David's laughing is because I know the name Brian Austin Green. He's not laughing because of the call. He's laughing because I actually know who Brian Austin Green is. Yeah, I watched Beverly Hills. I watched 90210 back in the day. Melrose Place too, David. I did.
I watched both of those too. Donna Martin Graduates. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you, LGJ. Thank you, Ken Fickle. Guys, with that, Josh, you're going to lead us off. With that, everybody, here for August the 22nd, 2026. This episode of Sports Cards Live is now
over.
That way.
OVER. Over.
Over.
And with that, good night, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the Sports Cards Live community. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and most of all, keep collecting. More great content to come. Sports Cards is a lifestyle.